This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning, Shantytown cleared. The Works Minister says that Abaco is next. Prayers for peace amid the crime wave. And the opposition leader raising alarm over the Prime Minister's intrusive policing plan. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Duquesa Dean will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll be talking about your health, getting yourself fit for the new year that's here. And some folks who intend to help you do that. We're going to get the details this morning and some tips as well. And then later in business, we're talking with the Consumer Protection Commission. Their Providers Education Forum is coming up. We'll get all the information we need about that in our 9 o'clock hour. That's all straight ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the government resuming the execution of its shantytowns eradication policy, demolishing more structures in the All Saints Way community yesterday off Golden Isles Road in New Providence. Minister of Works Clay Sweeting saying that they started last year and it will continue with the government's focus on unregulated communities to ensure that the communities that are built throughout the country have proper approvals and that they're built on land owned or leased by a proper institution or individual. Sweeting says the Unregulated Communities Action Task Force, made up of multiple government and law enforcement agencies, assessed the community before the tractors moved in. Demolition started in All Saints Way in early November. 45 structures have already been torn down, according to the Ministry of Works, with 30 of those taken down on Monday. Another 15 structures remain and are expected to be demolished today. Previously, authorities cleared the Cool Acres community in the eastern end of New Providence. 2 days prior, a major fire erupted at that site, destroying a substantial number of the structures. The Governor General, religious leaders, parliamentarians, members of the judiciary, and Bahamians from all spheres of society gathered in Rawson Square to pray to God to deliver the country from a crime wave that has gripped it in recent days. This was at the National Prayer Ceremony yesterday. Vice President of the Bahamas Christian Council, Pastor Mario Moxie, said during the service, quote, "The National Day of Prayer is a call to all Bahamians to unite in fervent prayer for our families, societal factors, and our government. It is a day to reaffirm our faith, to seek God's guidance, and to commit ourselves to the pursuit of peace, justice, and prosperity for our beloved nation." Prime Minister Philip Davis called for a National Day of Prayer, and the Bahamas Christian Council agreed to hold one. In recent weeks, New Providence has been rocked with murders. 11 people have been murdered so far in this new year. In response, the Prime Minister gave a national address on Sunday night outlining his administration's plan to tackle the problem. Police have also seemingly stepped up their efforts with patrols. The Prime Minister says that this is expected to increase. But F&M leader Michael Tard raising concern about the Prime Minister's promise of more intrusive policing to combat violent crime. He said he's worried about ordinary citizens' civil liberties and human rights being impeded as a result. Pintard also attacked the plans laid out in the Davis Davis's national address on Sunday on crime, saying the Prime Minister unveiled a cut-and-paste strategy from another jurisdiction. In a televised address on Sunday night, in response to the spate of murders, Davis said the government's immediate response will be a three-stage approach: clear, hold, and build, clearing the gangs out of the communities, keeping the communities safe by having police maintain a relentless presence there, and investing in those communities. But Pintard says, quote, "The big takeaway from the Prime Minister's speech is that the public should brace itself because now the police are going to be stepping up its intervention, and those incursions can be an inconvenience to all our lives." Pintard says the F&M is deeply concerned that the Prime Minister projects is going to be an inconvenience as well as an overreach into a number of people's lives, and that many are already experiencing this. From the courts, a man accused of murdering a 56-year-old woman and critically wounding her 2-year-old grandson is behind bars on charges of murder and attempted murder. Prosecutors allege that 27-year-old Jameson Jacob opened fire on a car in the area of Lily of the Valley Corner on January 11th. The bullet struck 2 of the 4 occupants of the vehicle. Renee Gray died, and her grandson, Adonai Moss, was shot in the head and remains in critical condition. Jacob is also accused of the attempted murders of Ideen Moss and Lagina Barr, who were also in the car. Jacob wasn't required to enter pleas to the charges when he appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley. He was denied bail since a magistrate can't consider bail for the offenses. Jacob was unrepresented. The matter was adjourned to February 1st for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment papers. And a man on bail for a double murder and attempted murder, accused of failing to comply with his bail conditions again. Prosecutors allege that Donald Cox failed to charge his ankle bracelet between January 5th and 6th. Cox pleaded not guilty to the charge of breach of bail at his arraignment before Senior Magistrate Shaka Serville. The prosecutor, Inspector Cordero Farrington, objected to bail, citing Cox's previous convictions for breaching his bail conditions. In 2022, Cox was jailed for 1 year after he admitted to breaking his residential curfew 5 times. In arguing for bail, Tony Lewis said Cox's previous admissions of guilt showed his character. According to Lewis, there were questions about the functionality of Cox's ankle bracelet. She noted that he had previously complained that the device wasn't working properly. The magistrate remanded Cox into custody pending his decision, which he will deliver on Friday. Cox was granted $30,000 bail in February 2021. Prosecutors say on May 29, 2020, Cox and another man killed 2 people and injured a third in a gang-related shooting in Bel Air Estates. Karan Bain and 10-year-old Laurencia Walks, who was hit by a stray bullet while playing in her yard, were killed. Leroy Sands was also shot in the incident but survived. Overseas, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un says his country will no longer pursue reconciliation with South Korea and called for rewriting the North's constitution to eliminate the idea of shared statehood between the war-divided countries. The historic step to discard a decades-long pursuit of a peaceful unification, which was based on a sense of national homogeneity shared by both Koreas, it comes amid heightened tensions where the pace of Kim's weapons development and the South's military exercises with the United States have intensified in a tit-for-tat. Some experts say Kim could be aiming to diminish South Korea's voice in regional security matters and communicate more clearly that he would seek to deal directly with the United States over the nuclear standoff, which has deepened amid disagreements over the stringent U.S.-led sanctions over his growing nuclear weapons program. Declaring the South as a permanent adversary, not as a potential partner for reconciliation, could be part of efforts to improve the credibility of Kim's escalatory nuclear doctrine, which authorizes the military to launch preemptive nuclear attacks against adversaries if it perceives the leadership in Pyongyang is under threat. And Iran fired missiles late Monday at what it claimed were Israeli spy headquarters near the U.S. consulate in the northern city of Erbil, and at targets linked to the extremist group Islamic State in northern Syria. 4 civilians were killed and 6 injured after missiles hit an upscale area near the consulate, the seat of Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdish region. Iran's Revolutionary Guard saying in a statement that it hit the headquarters of Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency in the Kurdish region of Iraq. Another statement said it had fired a number of ballistic missiles at terrorist operations, including Islamic State targets in Syria, and destroyed them. Israel did not immediately acknowledge the attack in Erbil and said its embassy in Washington did not return a request for comment on the Iranian allegation regarding the Mossad. In sports, a trio of young Bahamians taking their first steps as professionals towards the major leagues, signing separate contracts with the Boston Red Sox organization. All 3 hail from Maximum Development Max D Sports Academy. Javano Baker, Edwin Darville, and Trent Wilson, all of them 17 years old, inking their names on the dotted lines inside the border of the Office of the Prime Minister yesterday. Baker primarily mans the outfield and is one of the top international prospects of the Red Sox during this signing period. Darville spent most of his time at shortstop and Wilson as a pitcher. All 3 started playing baseball from as young as 7 at the Freedom Farm Baseball League in Yamacraw. Prime Minister Davis taking time to congratulate all 3 of the men. You can read what he said and more on this story in today's Guardian Sports section. And more from baseball, Javano J.J. Bain has waited a long time for his moment in the sunshine, and he got a sense of that last night, signing on the dotted line with the Toronto Blue Jays. The 16-year-old talented baseball prospect becoming the latest Bahamian to sign a professional contract with Major League Baseball, officially joining the Blue Jays at the Andre Rogers National Baseball Stadium last night. Surrounded by family, friends, coaches, and a robust support team, Bain was able to realize one of his dreams. He's looking forward to the opportunity to play in the major leagues. You can read more about this in today's Guardian Sports sections coming from the JBLN, by the way, Junior Baseball League of Nassau organization. Big day in NFL yesterday, and Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills dispatching the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-17 in a game that was supposed to be played on Sunday but was delayed because of snow. The Bills will be playing the Kansas City Chiefs next. From the NFC, Baker Mayfield throwing for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a 32-9 rout of the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC wild card. More from the NFL. Bill Belichick signaling he's ready to get back to coaching less than a week after parting ways with the New England Patriots. He's apparently speaking with the Atlanta Falcons about their vacant position. Falcons announced Monday night that they have interviewed the 71-year-old Belichick, who left the Patriots on Thursday after 24 seasons and a record 6 Super Bowl championships. The 5th of those Super Bowls came nearly 7 years ago against the Falcons. In a game, Atlanta led 28-3 in the third quarter before Tom Brady rallied the Patriots to a 34-28 overtime victory. The Falcons are seeking a successor to Arthur Smith, who was fired shortly after the conclusion of his third straight 7-10 season. Atlanta releasing no details of the interview with Belichick, which is believed to have been conducted in person. And more interviews. Jim Harbaugh has interviewed with the Los Angeles Chargers for their head coaching vacancy a week after he led the University of Michigan to a national title. The Chargers announced Harbaugh's interview on Monday without saying exactly when it took place. He's the 8th coaching candidate to interview with the Chargers, but his resume stands out from the rest. The 60-year-old has an 89-25 record in 9 seasons coaching his alma mater. Before that, he went 44-19-1 in 4 seasons as San Francisco's coach and took the 49ers to the Super Bowl after the 2012 season. He also had winning records at Stanford and the University of San Diego. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather for today, we've got a ridge of high pressure that's going to support tranquil weather conditions and a moderate to fresh breeze across the country today. A cold front will approach the islands of the extreme northwest Bahamas by tonight. Now, motorists and pedestrians should exercise caution during the early morning. We've seen that this morning. There's some fog and heavy mist in forested and marshy areas, coastlines, and open waters. Beachgoers in southeast Bahamas and along Atlantic exposed beaches should be alert as there's a risk of rip currents. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, we're looking at partly mostly sunny and warm conditions with isolated showers, becoming cloudy and breezy with widely scattered showers and a thunderstorm tonight in the extreme northwest Bahamas. Fair and cool with a passing shower over the remainder of the northwestern islands tonight. Smoke-craft caution comes into effect across the extreme northwestern islands tonight. Winds south-southeast to south-southwest at 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots in the extreme northwestern islands tonight. Seas 2 to 4 feet higher along Atlantic exposures, building to 4 to 6 feet in the extreme northwestern islands tonight. For the central southeast Bahamas, look for sunny, warm, and breezy conditions today, with isolated showers becoming fair and mild with a passing shower tonight. Small craft should exercise caution in the southeastern islands. Wind southeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times. Tonight in the central islands, easterly at 15 to 20 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the central islands, but 4 to 7 feet in the southeastern islands. Temperatures right now in Nassau, 73 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Look for highs getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. It's time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Struggling to repay your loan? Let us help you get back on track with payment terms that suits your financial situation and improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Inquire about our restructured loans today. Call us at 356-7764.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Join me now, Duquesa Dean. Duquesa Dean, we missed you last week. But
I missed you too.
But you had a good excuse. You're celebrating your birthday. You're now at what, 27, 28?
Let's just be honest. 51.
Hey! Wow. Wow. You look great. You look
Thank
great.
Thank you so much.
And you had a good time.
Yeah, I had a wonderful time.
Wonderful.
You.
Happy birthday
Happy
again.
to be here. Thank you.
All right. We've got a lot to talk about this morning. A lot going on in the news. Also, though, we're going to tell you about, hey, it's a new year. A lot of people doing that New Year, New You thing. I need to do it as well. And trying to get back into shape or trying to figure out what they need to do to stay on the right path. And we're going to be getting some tips from an expert this morning, and who's doing a lot of special things. Jay Fitness is going to be here. Donovan J. Roll is going to be joining us and talking about that. And then later in business, we're talking with the Consumer Protection Commission. The Providers Education Forum is coming up. We'll get details about what that's all about.
Okay, good.
So that's all ahead.
I think that's great because you hear consumer protection, but I think people need to know a bit more about what services they provide as well and how to engage them. So
absolutely. So that's all ahead, but let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, the big headline in the Nassau Guardian, shanties cleared. This is in the All Saints Way community. Only a few structures left, we're told, as a major demolition yesterday. And the Works Minister, Clay Sweeting, says Abaco is next. Of course, Abaco, people have been saying it, including MPs for the area, saying how things are getting bad again since Dorian. Communities are springing up and something desperately needs to be done. So we will see. We will see.
You remember the photo we saw?
Yes.
On the front page that
right.
day?
That would look like a big city.
Yeah.
But we will see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Of course, one wonders where these folks are going. But
I heard that they have a shelter for people who are legal residents, that they can go into the shelter for 3 months, and as they try to rebuild and find proper housing and stuff.
Be careful of that rebuild now. What?
No, not rebuild, Shanti. Yeah,
right.
but I think but of course, where do the illegals go, right? So that's a different story.
Deported and back to where they come from.
Yeah.
No?
Nope.
But even the folks who are documented, that's going to be a challenge to find a place to go. We know we have major issues on all the islands, and a lot of people have converted their housing to Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Right? To vacation
and
rental
who hasn't?
places.
The rent is not rent is a bit high.
Yeah. So we still have that housing challenge.
Yeah. Hopefully they institute your idea of, the buildings in Freeport and making condo living possible, or even building condo life downtown.
We've been talking about that for decades.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, like I said, Grand Bahamas got a whole bunch of places there, but what are they going to do in terms of work?
Right.
So that's the other issue. So many, many challenges here. But,
Well, it's the second city, right? So more emphasis,
is it
right?
still?
So that's why the right is there, or
is
the
it still?
question mark. right?
Oh, right. Okay.
So like maybe more emphasis can be placed on economic stability and,
Well, and then people are going to say next, well, who's supposed to do that? Everybody's pointing at each other.
Absolutely.
You've seen that Spider-Man meme
Yeah.
where they're all pointing at each other. It's you, it's
Yeah,
you, it's you. So, but hey, we will keep you posted on this, and we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
All right, so of course, this was talked about quite a bit, the National Day of Prayer, and a big service in Rawson Square, Parliament Square last night. And many attending dignitaries, including the Governor General and religious leaders, parliamentarians, and members of the judiciary. And, prayers for deliverance from this wave of murder.
Yeah. Well, Dwight, the Bible says the prayers of the righteous avail it much. However,
Who's righteous?
That's one question.
Right,
And
okay.
then secondly, after prayer, what? Right? Because even if you are a faith-based person, faith-based people know that faith without works is dead. So you got to do some things after you pray.
Absolutely. Wow. So, hey, if you were there, give us a call. Tell us about that. How did it go? How do you feel it went? Will things be on the right path now? I got to tell you, got some doubts. Just since yesterday's show, I had some interesting conversations with a few people. And just on my way here, just seeing the people who just, nobody, law?
Yeah.
What's that? Right? Between the no helmets, the
Running the red
lights, the do whatever you want on the road.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those little things, and of course they
Whatever.
add up, right?
Right.
And then people were like telling me they're proud that they were riding dirty, as they say. No license, no insurance for a year or 2 years.
Right.
Just, and how thrilling it was. And
That's what we've come to. I say
in
that
these
reluctantly.
multiple groups, these multiple WhatsApp groups that tell people.
They're not even afraid.
No, because they tell people where not to go and what not to do
Right.
and which road not to drive on.
Correct. The minute there's a roadblock, everybody don't go here. There's a roadblock here or whatever.
The same people complaining about the crime and the murder.
Correct. I just wonder when we're going to bring church back into the families, or when we're going to bring prayer back into the families.
It's great to have a National Day of Prayer outside where there's a collective body of people coming together for one cause. However, we definitely do need to see old school days of where we had, for those who believe in God, like a fair, that there would be consequences. And even if you don't believe in God, just the consequences from the law, if you break the law, that there would be consequences. But in the absence of consequence, there's no change. There's absolutely no change. So I think we have to go way back. The more we progress, in my opinion, the more we progress, the worse we've gotten. The more we've given way to certain things that may not go over well, like everybody have rights, and all sorts of things we've allowed to become normal for us. Do you remember when it was taboo to be a teenager and pregnant? That's now, so accepted. It was taboo to let everybody know you were fornicating, but now that's just it's, this is what's happening. It was taboo to
showers.
Right, and it was taboo to adultery. It was like if you sweetheart and you had to keep that on the down low, but now that even in on the down low no more. We've just become accepting of so many things that demoralize community and country. And I think that has contributed to the state that we find ourselves in. Because honestly, like, you're 50 and now you could bring up, like seriously, you're 15 and you're 15 and you're starting a family. Likely, this is a single family, right? That's a lot of pressure, right? And without the right support, where does child end up? And if Grammy 25 or 26 or 27, Grammy trying to live her life too.
Wow.
So, we have to really, really look at the root causes and see how we could address those. Not popular comments this morning, I know. I probably already getting blast out.
Stepping a lot of toes there. But yeah. Just some of the conversations we've had just so far this year on the show, right?
Yeah.
People talking about how it's not cool to be in school and answer the questions if you're a boy, and to look like you have any interest in your schoolwork. I mean, these are deep, deep problems.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to intentionally play dumb.
Correct.
So you don't get beat up or teased.
You gotta fit in.
What type of future can you have?
Yeah. And one without education is difficult. I mean, you could be street smart. And then you have the women who, because, there's this issue with the men, they becoming, I don't need a manish. And so they have taken on more masculine roles, and I could do it all by myself. I'm Miss Independent, so I don't need any help.
Because what can he do for you? He's just a street smart thug.
And that's mental torture and mental burdens and all this sort of stuff. So, the balance of things, I think it's just off.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's hear from you folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Bali Day is Strachan right along with you on the crest of Dwight.
Good morning. Good morning.
We need justice, law, and order in this country, the Bahamas. I want to say several things. Number one, those people that came here and built those shanty towns, somebody, excluding the Bahamians, should pay for that, having them knocked down. Okay? Everybody comes in this country, the majority of people come to this country and they're living off the Bahamian people, and nothing happening for the Bahamian people. And I want you all to mark this. The Cressa said, the prayer of a righteous man, some of us ought to will it much, in other words, get much done. Mark what has been done pertaining to this situation. Other point is, right? I want you also to mark this. Those people that was praying or were praying, I want you to mark this to see if it went, how high the prayers went. Okay, look out for that. We want to know how far the prayers went. We want to
what does that mean?
How far the prayers went.
What do you mean by that?
My other point is, right?
Before you go on, what does that mean? What do you mean by that?
To see if the prayers being answered. Other point is, right? The question also spake of from people, like people who hadn't gotten married, if they were to have children, it wasn't a good-looking society. In other words, in those days, it was happening, but our people had pride. They didn't want it to happen, and when it happened, they talked about it, or I understood that they put their children out, right? The thing is, my point is, it showed the pride in which Bahamian people had in those days. Okay? Now, I want you all to mark my points. We want to know what happened. Okay? We want to hear what happened. We want to watch and see what happened. Because let me show you something. We don't just vote for voting's sake. We vote for something decent to happen for our Bahamian people.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Initially, they had said that these would be demolished at the expense of the people living in them. That was what's supposed to happen here. So I don't know if that's still what's going on, but that's what they had said.
Oh.
That's what they had said.
Okay. Okay.
So, Okay. Let's take this other call, and then we'll get to your text messages. Good morning. Call you on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. Good morning, DeCasa. Good morning, Bahamas.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, as a youth coming up, right, I know a lot of my friends and teenager boys, they had babies, right? They had to get pregnant. And they used to tease me, you ain't a man because you ain't got no kids, and that's what. These young girls, they're going to be stuck with these babies because, most of these guys going to go on and get other girls pregnant, you know what I'm saying? So, anybody can lay down and make a baby, but, it takes a real man to be a father. No 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old could manage a baby, you know what I'm saying? But they think they're grown, I bet back in the days when my parents come to school, they only went they get to school at 14, 15 years old. But at least they was married. They got married. My mom got married at 16, and by 20, she had 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, marriage and, most young guys right now, they're not going to be with those girls. They probably will have 2 and 3 other kids before they reach 25 years old. And the girls going to be stuck with the kids. And the question, like you said, man, it was taboo for young girls to have babies back in the days. At least in my days coming up in the 70s and 80s. You know what I'm saying? So it's I don't understand it, man. Hey, y'all have a good day, man.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I think it goes a little bit deeper than just, a young girl getting pregnant because we all know she couldn't do it on her own. And like he is saying, Dwight, sometimes the pressure of that responsibility on a teenage boy is too much and he disappears, which again goes back to support and parenting because where is his parents, where is his mother, where is his father who could kick in and generate some support to a young girl. And we don't know what circumstances created or caused teenage pregnancy. Some of it could be another root cause that goes straight back to parenting and having young girls looking for love, right? Mm-hmm. Or it could be experimental because sex is a taboo subject and we're not explaining it and talking about it and allowing both parties to understand the responsibilities of sex at such a young age. And again, it speaks to the progression of our community because my grandmother was 14 when she had her first child. So back in those days, which was in the 40s or 50s, life was different. Community structure was different. She was with her common law husband. They had 12 children, 3 of whom died. She raised 9 children. And but there was a community, there was support. She had the baby daddy in her life, a common law husband. They lived together, they reared the children together. But as we progressed so much change from that point, and it's taboo for young girls to engage in sexual activities because we've become so modernized, and we want futures and we want careers and all these different things. And so the times are also different. And that's just a part of evolution. The times are different. And so is it taboo at 13 and 14 to be a mom? Or could it be that's the way it was back then, and it is possible that it could work if they are together as a unit and it's not this pressure from society to say, oh, you have to have a career. I'm just asking questions, really. I'm just really, in my mind, fleshing out what the difference is between Grammy's time and our time. And it's really modernization.
Wow.
Boy, you better keep your eyes in your head.
You're going to cause them to roll down this.
But I'm just asking.
Okay.
I'm just really just asking.
Oh boy. All right, so this is interesting. This text here, this is very much off topic today, but listen to this. This is off topic, but does the labor law of the Bahamas state that anyone who works on a holiday part-time or full-time is entitled to double time plus no employed person is responsible for his own payment to NIB, correct? Oh, okay, right. So yes, if you are full-time, it is double time if you work on a holiday, and you should not be, if you're not self-employed, you should not be responsible for paying NIB.
Right, you pay
I don't
your
believe,
portion.
right. I mean, well, they take it out, but the employer pays. That's generally how it works. My boss wants me to sign a contract to the contrary, that if I am scheduled to work on a holiday, it's regular time and I must pay my own NIB contribution. Is this right? Please get the relevant message out. It's not fair, nor is it right. Thanks. In this regard. Okay, well, you need to make some calls.
Yeah.
The Department of Labor.
But does he want them to pay the entire national insurance or just the portion that they take out the salary in addition to the employer's contribution that's sent to NIB? And is he part-time, full-time? Because all of those things will make a difference.
You might not want to work at this place, but you should also report them.
Yeah. So check it out. Call the labor board.
Lots of issues there. And this goes back to what we were talking about yesterday. A lot of people are trying to take advantage of their employees. Good morning, Dwight. Why are they avoiding Cowpen Road? Abaco should be done after they finish with New Providence. Okay. Dwight and Duquesa, it's all fake. There are over 30 shanty towns. If they were serious, they would remove all at the same time.
30
here in New Providence alone?
Wow.
Okay. A National Day of Prayer. I feel safer already. Oh, boy. You people. Who knew the solution to our crime problem is to pray? All those years already spent praying, I guess we should have just prayed during COVID and avoided all the mask wearing and social distancing and vaccinations. You feel better sending that text? I mean, I hear you, but there's a reason to type that out and send that. That's we need to do everything. We need to do a combination of everything.
Yes, a combination.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yes.
Oh boy. Okay. I'll take a little break from the text messages for now. All right. So again, this was we heard the Prime Minister's crime plan there on Sunday, the National Day of Prayer yesterday, but the opposition is not impressed, especially with the Prime Minister's plan. Michael Pintard, the FNM leader, the opposition leader, raising lots of concerns at a press conference yesterday. Take a listen to this report from our Destiny Johnson.
The government's plan to tackle crime is disappointing, according to Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard. During his national address on Sunday night, Prime Minister Philip Davis pledged to introduce facial recognition CCTV and a new crime-fighting approach called Clear, Hold, and Build. He also warned residents to brace for more police presence. Pintard suggested the Prime Minister's address is a little late.
What is clear is that the Prime Minister, the Minister of National Security, and the Commissioner are seldom on the same page. They routinely give conflicting statements on what the country's overall position is as it relates to crime in general, but violent crimes in particular. The commissioner feels that he's doing a wonderful job. Most unfortunate that he's been off base in his projections, I believe 2 years in a row in terms of what the level of homicides would be. And there is a measure of comfort in believing that things are not as bad as others are saying. We are in crisis.
There have been 11 murders and several armed robberies so far this year. Many Bahamians have been calling for the reintroduction of capital punishment to serve as a deterrent for criminals. When asked his thoughts on the matter, Pintard says all options should be on the table.
One of the reasons that there's an appetite in this culture for the death penalty, well, some would say because people have evolved, but I think another reason is we've kept persons who've been sentenced to death on death row for an inordinate amount of time, that there was actually a ruling that it was cruel and unusual punishment to keep someone on death row for an unusually long period of time. And back then, my view was speed up the process. So even if you're going to read the death notice, you trigger the appeals, and then the appeals go through the court, and then the results are what the results are.
Last week, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander expressed ongoing concern over criminals being granted bail after being charged with murder or attempted murder. Pintard, while expressing the same sentiments, said it is a very complex problem.
What the Prime Minister can control, other than just making those comments, is he can control the speed which the government can contribute to swift justice. He talked about it working, but giving no statistics. He has not given us an indication of, on his watch, what has he done to speed up trials? Because you can't keep somebody in prison indefinitely without bail if your system is so slow that they can't get a trial, a fair trial. So if they are innocent, we would have then violated their human rights.
The F&M leader asserted that the party will continue to keep the government's feet to the fire and pledge to do their part to help bring an end to violence in the country. Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Destiny Johnson.
Okay, Destiny Johnson there. Interesting comments from Michael Pintard. I'm sure many of you were thinking it as well. Was this the stance of the previous administration? I don't recall that being.
I don't know. It just seems like the job of the opposition is to just go against everything that the governing party is doing. Like, it doesn't matter which way, BLB, F&M, whoever. It just seems as if once one party is in, the other party's job is now to combat or go against or be in opposition of everything that they do. I mean, being the opposition doesn't mean that you should oppose everything.
Apparently.
It means that you work together, right?
Well, now, I'm not saying that I disagree with Pintard at all. I'm just thinking that, but I don't recall this being what we saw from previous administrations at all.
None of them.
It's always exactly the way it is right now. It's always like this.
Correct.
We always have these issues.
Correct.
So when you all come in, you don't radically change things. And
it's not a priority.
I see the difference. I see, look what they're doing.
Right.
You don't see that.
No, it's not a priority at all.
Then.
No, it's not. But I think, like, if you consider, like, most, just think of it as a business, Dwight. When you have challenges within a business, you try your best to deal with the low-hanging fruit first, because that gives you a quicker resolve, and people can see immediate results. So I believe that the what you call those things, when the roadblocks and those sorts of things, people will see the police out and about.
Apparently, Bahamian governments don't like fruit. So they don't pick the low-hanging ones.
Well, that's easy. Like, just have them out there. How do you know that someone's driving without insurance?
They dig up the ground and look for the root vegetables. Well, not root vegetables. I don't know what to do. They dig up the ground for something.
They need to get the low-hanging fruit that's right there. Like, put your manpower out.
It's sour.
Yes, it's inconvenient to the public. I agree. But how do you know that someone doesn't have a license? How do you know that the car isn't insured? right? How do you know that there's a vehicle,
That's your problem
there's a
as
gun
a
in the
motorist.
car? How the people who making the third lanes and who running the light, like there should be an officer on those hot spots. Everybody know. Bar 20 is one of those corners where multiple people will run the light. You just need to sit one officer there, right? Where are the officers with the speed guns? We have a law that says that there's a certain speed limit, and people are flying. I'm trying to figure out, like, what's the life and death emergency? So where
Some
are
of
the
the speed
guns?
limits are questionable.
Well, they need to revisit.
They
I
do need
agree.
to,
Some of
yes,
them.
some of them.
However, the law has to be enforced. And if it isn't enforced, it's what we get today, which is called chaos.
Yeah.
And further to that, we have to also make sure that in the execution of the law, and I don't want to just call out police officers, anyone that works within the government, that pockets can't be greased for offenses to disappear. Otherwise, we still back to the who you know and I can get it pulled. And so that, again, there's just no consequence.
What are
So what's the
cousins
point?
for, though? What are cousins for? You
To
gotta
enforce the law, that's your job.
Okay. Let's take these calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Yes, hi.
And I think your host is DeQuesta.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you. I'm kind of really on the same page as your commentary earlier with respect to the leader of the opposition. To me, it's just really bad politics to only appear with a substantive amount of criticism for an idea or a set of ideas and to not yourself offer a counter set of proposals or a counter set of ideas to the Bahamian public. And while I have a lot of respect for the leader of the opposition, I think that his position on the government's initiative is perhaps a letdown to the Bahamian people, because you should be a part of the solution as much as you are a part of the criticism. And whoever's given him advice, they need to step it up, because that's just horrible politics to only criticize and not offer solutions. Have a good day.
Okay. But as DeQuesta said, that just seems to be the way it works here with opposition parties. I think we've heard that before. They vote for us if you want our ideas, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you serve the country. Whether you sit in opposition or whether you sit in the governing party, your role is to serve the country.
Yeah. Wow. 242 300-5720. That's to call us on the toll-free line. And for New Providence listeners, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and to your guests.
Hi, good morning.
Yes. You know, I listened to DeQuesta Dean a little while ago when she talked about the hypocrisy of the opposition, that when they're in opposition, what they do. But the Prime Minister today, who was in opposition a couple years ago, went to every roundabout, put a sign up, and tell the Bahamian people in the world that we have a crime problem. It's a government problem in our country. We need to stop playing politics when we sit on those radio stations.
Sir.
The Bahamian people are listening to you all.
No, I think you're the one who's not listening. She didn't say that he didn't say that. That's what the point she's making, that everybody in opposition does this. They don't come together.
What she also need to do, Dwight, is this. The Prime Minister was one time in opposition too.
Right.
And you know, y'all try to beat down everything what the opposition is saying. The government is the set that you all are to be dealing with.
You're very confused.
I think that you've kind of
and
like
clearly
not,
you're showing your colors.
Yeah, but not heard exactly what I'm saying. I'm not speaking against any single government. I'm saying that all of the governments, when in opposition, play this role, whether that's the PLP or the FNM. What we do need to see in our country is more coming together. And if we're going to hold any governing party accountable, then we need to have accountability tactics and not just throwing the government under the bus. Whether that's the FNM is in power or the PLP is in power, what we need is that for the opposition right now to give some support and say, these are some of the recommendations. And whether the FNM was in power or not, my comments would remain the same. The opposition's role, while it is supposed to keep the government to the fire and make sure that the things that are being committed to are actually being carried out and not from just a critical standpoint. Accountability is about holding you to the fire. It's about giving you advice. It's about reminding you of what you said that you've done and looking for the action that you've put in place as a result of what you've said that you've done. So I have no beef with the Prime Minister of the country. I have no beef with the leader of the opposition. I am speaking purely about party and not person. This is what happens when you are in leadership. You have your priorities and what you want to focus on. And when you're in opposition, then you are opposing everything that those in leadership are doing without really that accountability factor coming into play in a way that benefits the country more. That's what I'm saying.
The people hear what they want to hear. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to both of you, Seattle and Johnson. Please allow me to engage both of you. First of all, in opposition, we often have the point of looking back and we say, the FNM didn't say this last time. Well, this is the problem, is that we so focus on looking back that we certainly ignore the future. But when you begin to apply what the opposition said, and then you have to go back and apply what the current government said in opposition. But if we look at where we were since 2021 and the leader of the current opposition, his position has been the request for information. Mm-hmm. I think both of you talk about this concept of accountability, integrity, transparency, the freedom to access to information, and an anti-corruption perspective. The question is, and you ask, say, why aren't contributions made to governance? Let's use the crime speech as the beginning. It was promised by yesterday that we would actually see the plan. The speech was not a plan. How do you participate, get involved, make recommendations for a government that has become anti-accountable, anti-transparency, and is seen to be anti-freedom of information? How do you engage a government, even for the public? We say to the public, forget the opposition and itself. How does the public become involved to contribute to the unknown? This government has not been forthcoming in any of its information structure as going forward, and it's taken a position publicly that is totally against the freedom of information. See, so if we are to have governance, it begins with government. It's just this current government providing us with the information that is necessary to be active citizens making informed. You have the Chamber, the organization has been asking, Organization for Governance has been asking, Responsible Government has been asking for information for years. And so, but if you look at the current opposition, it's the same demand that has been making, follow the law. You have a government that does not follow the law, but has a crime plan that it says will enforce the law. You have a government that doesn't believe in transparency, but said it will actually begin to take more information on its citizens, that we will have no ability to know where that information is, who's managing it, what has been done with it, facial recognition, data collection, all of these different things. It's like we are denying the 21st century the reality of active governance. We're in the age where we're in the knowledge economy, meaning that for the Bahamas to grow, information, so it could be properly comprehended, known as knowledge, is absolutely necessary for the growth and development of this country. We don't know where we are going. Nothing in our country functions. You have the same thing, Dwight, I heard you mention 30 shanty towns. I think it's more like 37 of them. Can you say in the media, can you say that you have that information? Can you verify that information? Can you say have access to the surveys that has been done on the shanty towns? Can we get information on anything that allows us, even as citizens, to actively participate in governance? So I think we can use this opportunity to look at the promises that has been made by this current opposition and begin to help shape policy rather than sitting in absentee and say, oh, when this country we come in, we'll see if he'll keep his word. Well, governance requires active participation because we are government within itself. And I think what happens is it's just a matter of becoming more educated and informed, but it begins with government giving us the transparency, giving us accountability, presenting integrity, giving us the anti-corruption legislation, giving us access to information so we could find our purpose, develop our passion, and actually maybe begin to dream again. To guarantee the future, we must collectively create it. And I think governance in our country for the last 30 years has not allowed us to totally do that.
Yeah, you are correct.
100%.
You're correct. And this is the fourth administration. Fourth. So governments in the Bahamas, all of them. All.
Yep.
Fourth.
Yep.
And we're in the same position.
Yep.
Talking nonsense.
Yep.
Fourth. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? No? Let's take that other call before we have to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Mrs. Strong.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning to your guest. Just want to say a few words. The gentleman was last on. He's talking about the opposition and all that, but they both parties have failed us when it comes to information. Freedom of Information Act, they have it sitting right beside them. It's just a matter of signing it and, bringing it forward. But it seems like they don't want the people, what's going on. I know certain things you cannot put out there, right? But the people should be able to have information, knowing what is going on in the country. Both parties have failed us when it comes to that. And also, when it comes to the shantytown, those people cannot put up electricity and cable and all that. It has to be Bahamian catering to that. They cannot do that off their own. They might squat the land, yes. But Bahamians, we have to wake up. We are our own enemy. We help feed these things and then make it look like the foreigner, We are catering to it, so we need to wake up and be on it. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You.
Some messages as we go to the break. This person says, that caller that accused you all of being biased is correct. Where were these come-together speeches under the F&M? Okay. Oh, boy, I tell you. Again, all of you hear what you want to hear. And the country is so divided that, the F&Ms hear something astounding.
Correct.
And the PLPs hear something equally as astounding on the other side.
Yeah.
And both sides are accusing us of being biased towards the other party.
Right.
And so that's clearly where we need to be.
Correct.
Right there, offending everybody because you're all the same and you're all lousy. All. And we're in the same position we were 10 years ago and 20 years ago. And the talk continues, and the blaming and the pointing fingers continues. And we're still here.
We're worse.
And if you're offended and you think we're biased, okay, fine. Sure. But the other side thinks the same thing. Mm-hmm. So who's got the problem? The Bahamian people. Because, again, we're relying on you folks, and all you're doing is complaining and running your mouths, and nothing's changing.
Yeah.
We got to go to the break. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
I need peace, I need hope, I need guidance. I need more than myself. I need light, I need life, I need what I never felt. Sisters and brothers are picking sides, and both of our mothers are terrified. And I'm crying out to an empty sky. Tell me if I hit the ground and I fall too many
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. It's the first victory of the 2024 presidential primary season, and it goes to Donald Trump. He won the Iowa GOP caucuses last night.
Well, I want to thank everybody. This has been some period of time, and most importantly, we want to thank the great people of Iowa. Thank you. We love you all.
Ron DeSantis came in second, beating Nikki Haley. She congratulated Donald Trump on his win.
I want to congratulate President Trump on his win tonight. We have had an amazing 11 months here in the Hawkeye State.
Those who turned out in Iowa last night risked life-threatening cold and dangerous driving conditions, and it is still brutally cold across much of the nation. Frigid temperatures in the Northeast. There's been freezing rain and sleet across parts of the Southeast. I'm Rita Foley.
It is time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean for more information. In your real-time traffic this morning, we're seeing some congestion on West Bay Street, especially near Saunders Beach as you're approaching the roundabout with New Providence Highway and heading east along Arawak Key. A bit more congested than you normally see as you approach Nassau Street, so keep that in mind this morning. Elsewhere, as usual, Minot Butler Highway, heavy traffic from well south of Fire Trail roundabout straight up to Tawny Williams-Darling Highway. That's the northbound lanes there, and traffic is backed up along Tawny Williams-Darling Highway as well, westbound this morning. Glass Road also busy for you from quite well south of the Fire Trail intersection, straight up to John F. Kennedy Drive and Bahamar Boulevard. We've got Blue Hill Road also busy from St. Vincent straight through to Independence Drive if you're heading northbound, especially near Carmichael and north of Soldier Road. And Independence Drive is backed up in both directions, east and westbound, between the roundabouts at Blue Hill and East Street. East Street also busy for you from Sapodale Boulevard straight up to the roundabout with Independence Drive and even through to Robinson Road and the intersection there. Then we've got an eastern New Providence, heavy traffic on Eastern Road, of course, from just about San Souci to Johnson Road, and Prince Charles Drive is busy for you near the major intersections like Fox Hill Road and on the way to Beatrice Avenue. And Soldier Road and Robinson Road also busy for you there. Bernard Road, heavy traffic near the schools in the area there. So a number of hot spots already this morning. You're going to need a lot of patience this morning. But that's your Morning Blend traffic brought to you by RBC. Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean. And time for another check of your weather brought to you by Easy Car Sales. We've got a ridge of high pressure that's going to support tranquil weather and a moderate to fresh breeze across the country today. A cold front is going to approach the extreme northwest Bahamas by tonight. Motorists and pedestrians should exercise caution as there was some early morning fog, and that should be burning off by now. But that was in open areas and forested areas and along some coastlines and marshy spots, so keep that in mind. Might be an issue again tomorrow. Beachgoers in southeast Bahamas and along Atlantic exposed beaches should be alert as there's rip currents and the risk of rip currents. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, look for partly to mostly sunny and warm conditions with isolated showers, becoming cloudy and breezy with widely scattered showers and a thunderstorm. In the extreme northwest Bahamas, fair and cool with a passing shower over the remainder of the northwestern islands. Small craft caution comes into effect across the extreme northwest Bahamas tonight. For the central and southeastern islands, sunny, warm, and breezy with isolated showers, becoming fair and mild with a passing shower tonight. Small craft should exercise caution in the southeast Bahamas. Temperatures today, highs getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that cold front's going to enter the northwest Bahamas by Wednesday morning, accompanied by a fresh breeze, scattered showers, and isolated thunderstorms. The front will drift southeastwards into the central islands, where it will become stationary by Thursday. High pressure and fresh breezes will remain across the southeastern islands. So for Wednesday tomorrow, partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the northwestern islands, and partly sunny and mild with isolated showers in the central and southeast Bahamas. Thursday, partly cloudy to cloudy with isolated showers in the northwest islands again and the central Bahamas, and partly sunny, warm, and breezy in the southeastern islands with isolated showers. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Feel the power of the electric revolution. Swing by Easy Car Sales for a test drive in an electric vehicle. It's a ride you won't forget. Visit easy242.com and see where an electric future can take you.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
What would you do with extra cash? Plan a trip.
Overhaul my wardrobe.
With CIBC First Caribbean, you can get comfy with savings on your mortgage cost. Buy or build your home or switch your mortgage to us and get up to US $1,000 off the loan application fee. Up to US $2,000 off home insurance. With up to US $10,000 towards switching costs, your pockets will be comfy too. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/get comfy for more information. Conditions apply.
There's a new electric vehicle in town. The Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans, available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing, hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
I need peace, I need hope, I need guidance. I need more than
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. And standard text rates apply. And now at 8:20, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Here's what's happening. We've got a ridge of high pressure that's going to support tranquil weather conditions and moderate to fresh breezes across the Bahamas. A cold front will approach the islands of the extreme northwest Bahamas tonight. So beachgoers in the southeast Bahamas and along Atlantic exposed beaches should be alert as there's a risk of rip currents as well today. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, we are looking at partly to mostly sunny and warm conditions with isolated showers, becoming cloudy and breezy with widely scattered showers and the thunderstorm tonight in the extreme northwestern islands. Fair and cool with a passing shower over the remainder of the northwestern islands. Small craft caution comes into effect across the extreme northwest Bahamas tonight. For the central and southeastern islands, look for sunny, warm, and breezy conditions with isolated showers, becoming fair and mild with a passing shower tonight. Small craft should exercise caution in the southeast Bahamas. Temperatures today getting up to a very warm 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius, getting back down to cool 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius tonight. That cold front is going to enter the northwest Bahamas on Wednesday morning, accompanied by fresh breezes, scattered showers, and isolated thunderstorms. The front's going to drift southeastward into the central Bahamas, where it'll become stationary. On Thursday, high pressure and fresh breezes will remain across the southeastern islands. So for Wednesday, and pretty much for Thursday as well, look for partly cloudy and breezy conditions with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the northwest Bahamas, and partly sunny and mild with isolated showers in the central and southeast Bahamas. By Thursday, partly cloudy, isolated showers and thunderstorms in the northwest and central islands, partly sunny, warm, and breezy with isolated showers in the southeastern Bahamas. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints has got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in-store today. And time for another check of your traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean for more information. In your real-time traffic, it continues. Heavy traffic on Mile Butler Highway from south of the Fire Trail roundabout straight through to Tawny-Williams-Darling Highway roundabout. Heavy traffic northbound for you this morning. Traffic is backed up along Fire Trail east and westbound at the moment, and backed up a bit at Tawny-Williams-Darling Highway westbound. Also, 6-legged roundabout also looking busy for you. We've got northbound and eastbound on JFK traffic heavy there, and southbound on your Providence Highway as well. Over on Gladstone Road, busy in spots. If you're near, Fire Trail is going to be busy for you, but not looking so bad as you are heading northbound towards JFK Drive. We're seeing a bit of congestion near Theodore Lane on JFK Drive, southwestbound this morning. West Bay Street still busy for you. If you are approaching Saunders Beach and the roundabout with your Providence Highway, that's eastbound. Heavy traffic there. Straight through to, as you exit that roundabout, heading further east towards Arawak Key. And a bit of congestion on West Bay near Nassau Street. In eastern Providence, it's busy for you still on Eastern Road, just west of Sans Souci to about Johnson Road. Bernard Road still busy for you, especially near the schools in that area. And then we've got Prince Charles Drive, heavy traffic at the major intersections, especially near Fox Hill and Beatrice Avenue. And Soldier Road, that area, Soldier Road is looking busy. Just north and south of Robinson Road, heavy traffic for you as you approach Bernard Road. And Robinson Road still busy near Old Trail. Those are your hottest spots right now. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean.
first or new home, or even using your existing home as equity, RBC understands that your journey to home ownership is unique, and your mortgage financing should reflect that. That is why at RBC, we have dedicated mortgage specialists that provide sound advice and helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. Best of all, the RBC mortgage team is mobile, flexible, and will meet you almost anywhere. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
Champ, baby girl, cable guy is here.
Since the very beginning, you have been with us.
This is Paul Ray, and this is called the internet. Okay. Right, so
For over 2 decades, we've been with you every step of the way.
Total class. Look at her go. She's in front.
Hi, fellow me. I'm President.
So yeah, times may have changed, and so have your needs as our valued customers. But some connections stand the test of time. Rev, we're with you.
What would you do with extra cash? Plan a trip.
Overhaul my wardrobe.
With CIBC First Caribbean, you can get comfy with savings on your mortgage cost. Buy or build your home or switch your mortgage to us and get up to US $1,000 off the loan application fee. Up to US $2,000 off home insurance. With up to US $10,000 towards switching costs, your pockets will be comfy too. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/get comfy for more information. Conditions apply.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product coming to store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we could sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Struggling to repay your loan? Let us help you get back on track with payment terms that suits your financial situation and improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Inquire about our restructured loans today. Call us at 356-7764.
There's a new electric vehicle in town, the Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans, available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
At RBC, we know buying your new ride is a very personal experience with many decisions to make. That's why we leave the car choice to you and ask that you leave the rest to one of our RBC Auto Finance specialists, trained to provide sound advice and helpful solutions to make your dream car a reality. The RBC Auto Finance team is mobile, flexible, and will meet you almost anywhere. Visit rbc.com/lovemyride to connect with an RBC Auto Finance specialist in your area.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Get ready to mash this party up. It's Rick and Script full non-stop. Hey! Rick and Script. Rick and Script. D-Max style. Rick and Script. Oh, yeah. Rick and Script. I see you coming from a mile away, girl. Rick and Script.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Duquesa Dean. Coming up in a few minutes, Jay Fitness going to be talking to us. Got a lot to talk with him about. As many people are embarking on fitness journeys for the new year. So we're going to get some good tips from him, I'm sure. And he's got a lot of exciting things going on. That's coming in just a few minutes. I wanted to get through some of these text messages really quickly, though. Some great text messages coming through, and you can continue to text us 422-4796. All right, so you remember last week we were all in shock. We heard Bishop T.G. Morrison at the Majority Rule Day service telling folks about a school in the country where Bahamian students aren't allowed to go into this part of the wing of the school because the students there have put up a flag of a different country and they're daring Bahamians to come through. And like, wait, did the bishop report this to the police or the defense force? Because this doesn't sound like this is very serious.
Here in our country.
Oh, yes. So he said. Okay. And we're all like, what? And so
well, I want to be sure I clear. This is a school that they have taken territory of a part of the school.
So he was saying.
Okay.
Crazy.
I just want to make sure I hear right.
We all were not sure we heard right. Like, wait, what? And everybody told you all that the BUT, Belinda Wilson, president of the teachers union, was like she in shock as well and calling the police and trying to figure out what's going on. And nobody knows what this is. Nobody knows. And this is from them. No school throughout the country has stated they've had any incidents of any kind like this. Wow. And the police have checked with all school resource officers at each school, and nobody's aware of this happening at all.
Wow. So where did that come from? Wow. Because it's even just far-fetched to believe that you are in a school with other students and you could take a part of the school and dare Bahamian students to come to that section of a school that you don't own and nobody knows anything, nobody says anything. This hasn't created any issues.
Or that everybody's too afraid to address it.
Wow.
Yeah. Quite far-fetched. So, we have to be very careful about trying. People are already on edge. People are really already seeing things in a very unusual way. And something like that that's all that it takes to light this keg, right? And we don't need that kind of talk.
Correct. Wow.
Boy. Here's another message. We are a country full of laws and regulations, but fall short when it comes to enforcement. We also seem to be afraid to impose high penalties. I've even heard it said that people can afford them, but that's not the point. But that's the point. If they are ridiculously high and enforced and make it known that this has to happen, it will continue to happen. People will eventually stop. Perfect example of falling short during COVID. The Prime Minister passed a law that anyone breaking curfew would have to pay a $10,000 fine. The first person who broke COVID curfew ended up paying $209. Then we know they weren't serious, and people started breaking curfew to go to parties, bars, etc. And they said they don't mind paying $200 to go to a party. Had the first person been made to pay that big fine or had jail time and it was publicized, there would have been fewer people breaking the law.
We do have an enforcement issue. We have laws. They just aren't enforced enough.
Yeah. This person says here, Dwight, that caller who was accusing you all of favoritism is the typical Bahamian personality. Rebuke them. They want you to talk about their party in a positive light and talk about the other party in a negative light regardless. Good response to him. People like him are the problem in the country. Well, oh boy. Okay. This person says, let us talk about potholes. It's off topic, but every day it is on topic. I replaced 3 tires in 3 days due to 2 potholes. This is low-lying fruit, like what you talked about for the government to capably fix. who has money to fix one or more tires each month for each year. The voters are crying for help and will note who does not help. The government must fix the potholes. Otherwise, we have to march to Rawson Square and tell them to vacate Parliament until the roads are made passable. Well, you can be marching a lot. How can we get to work to pay taxes if our tires are flat? Low-lying fruit.
Yeah, I dropped in one yesterday, too.
Yeah.
Horrible.
By the way, I've been talking about this one for about a month on the show. That giant one there on Prince Charles, it is really now in the lane. It is taking over. And it is the steepest thing. It is, you might as well call it Clifton Pier 2.
Oh, wow.
It is that high and deep.
Where exactly?
It is right across the street from the Seagrape Shopping Center and the car wash that's there. If you're coming out of the plaza and you try to avoid a car, you will go in that and you won't get out with four tires.
You got to call the pothole hotline. Isn't there like a hotline for potholes? You remember?
Yeah,
they came up with a hotline.
I think it's in a pothole. It's sunk. You can't find it. But anyway, I don't know what that point is. Gosh. Anyway, callers are making reference to the current opposition having no answers, but the PM didn't present any answers to any of the country's problems in 3 years. BPL, Bahamas Air, water and sewage, NIB, immigration, nor crime. Where is the government's plan?
Good
Lots
question.
Lots of talk.
Yeah, good question.
For years, I said, why are so many kids on the street during school hours? Yes, blame the parents, but what happened to the truant officers? The government must do their part in making parents be accountable. I think they only have a few of them.
Oh, they still have them?
Mm.
I didn't even realize that they had them. Like, so when the students miss school for a consecutive amount of time, is that reported to like social services or, like, I would really like to know what the process is because, you could call the parents, but only so much the school could do too. So it's not just the responsibility of the school. But definitely that's something that I've seen as well, like a lot of children walking around the neighborhood or communities, and it makes me even wonder if they are eligible to be in school or what precisely is the reason that they're not in school. The other day I heard somebody said they didn't go to school because they didn't have lunch money.
Apparently that's a very common thing.
But that's not a good reason not to be in school.
It wouldn't have been in our time.
No, right? And unless
today, that's a common thing.
No, not for lunch money.
Yeah.
We need to fix that. We definitely need to fix that.
It's a lot of weird stuff going on because holidays, you'll see kids in uniform. Like, what's this about?
Right.
That there was no school today, but you're in a uniform.
Right.
And then all day long, you're seeing 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock kids walking around.
Yeah.
Like, what is really going on around here?
Yes.
But, a couple more messages. This person says politics is a science and has its own rules. Opposition is that. Opposite, contrary. The government will always talk about its achievements. When the government is doing well, the opposition has no job. Besides, the goal of the opposition is to gain the government, and it cannot do so by congratulating the current government. Besides, it's doubtful the government would implement any of the opposition's suggestions because it can drive them out of office because the opposition would then take the credit. It is a game, and we, the citizens, are the spectators. Yeah.
The victims.
Yeah, let's take this call, and then we got to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight, and good morning to Cressa.
Good morning.
I hope you're having a great Tuesday.
So far.
Dwight, I just want to highlight something that I spoke to on Aaron's show. This was written in your newspaper in 2011, Tuesday the 26th of July 27. It says, the headline says, Police Chief Stresses Bail's Frustration. At the time he was appointed Commissioner of Police last year, Ellison Green said identified 191 prolific offenders, many of whom still terrorize local communities. It was revealed yesterday. They're still roaming the streets of our country on a daily basis, said Green said. And he also went on to say many of these offenders have repeatedly been arrested only to end up on bail. He said, we are in a bad way as a people. We are in a bad way as a country because of a lack of respect. And he also said, He said 245 illegal weapons have been seized for the year, along with 3,330 rounds of ammunition. But many of the people responsible for illegal firearms are still walking the street, the commissioner added. They've been charged, taken before the courts, and we see them again reoffending.
What year was that again? What year was that?
That was in 2011, while he appeared as a guest on Jeffrey Lloyd's program.
My goodness.
And Dwight, that is the bail issue a problem?
It's worse now than ever before.
Is it a solvable problem?
I'm sure it is.
So.
Who is responsible for solving such a problem, Dwight? What is the role of the government? You always talk about what is the role and the Chicago of an MP. And the MP is supposed to bring laws and legislation for the governance of a country, not running around to funerals and all about up and down doing a bunch of crap. They're supposed to be passing laws for the good governance of our country. I heard the AG saying that the prosecutor should present a stronger case. And what, Dwight, who is responsible for the prosecution office? Isn't that the responsibility of the Attorney General?
Yes. Well, and the Director of Public Prosecutions.
You're right, but that comes under the who? Doesn't that come under the office of the Attorney General?
Right.
So he should be advising his prosecutors how to proceed in these cases. So don't come to us and tell us that the prosecution of whom you are responsible for, okay? And like Mr. Pintard has said, okay, the present Commissioner of Police is advocating the same sentiments of Mr. Greenslade. Okay, he's saying the same thing. He is also advocating for stiffer penalties for the possession of illegal firearms. What is our present Minister of National Security saying? Have you heard from him, Dwight?
It's been kind of quiet.
Where is Jerry Roker? Where is he in Freeport or is he in jail? Come on, man. We need to get this country in order. Lastly, the opposition is a part of the government, and so they should be involved. And on previous occasion, I have heard Mr. Pintard asking and proposing to the government, but he said that the government did not acquiesce to their request. I remember sometime last year or year before last when they had this crime forum and something like that, and he had said, but when they get in government, the government want to take all of the credit for solving these things and want to involve the opposition in it. And the PM, he said there will be stiffer penalties. What stiffer penalty, Mr. Prime Minister? What penalties will you be advocating for the possession of illegal firearms? When you tell me that, then I will start to pray for you. Until then, I will pray that God will send us a righteous government, a government who will govern with the hands of the law and who will deal with matters and who have the political will to do the things that we need to do. As Raymond said, to have justice, law, and order in our country and stop this nepotism and favoritism and everything else that goes on in a country that is allowing our country to be looked at as one being corrupt.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yep. Wow. The question, this is for you when you're talking about the low-hanging fruit, and I told you, hey, this government doesn't like fruit. They're like, this person says, we are a sea-based culture. We don't deal with no fruits and roots. We're out on the high seas looking for the white whale. This could take years. They're eating all the meat. They eat all the meat.
Well, we need
no fruit.
We got to introduce
no
some
vegetables.
fruit. We know we got to introduce some fruit.
Only salty meat. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
You tell me you ain't into much and you ain't got time to play no game. You tell me you don't go nowhere and no one even know your name. Now look how you winding up. Drink yours now in my cup. I tell her not time to rest. She telling me no, not yet. Girl, now look like you don't want to go home. You order 2 more drinks, say don't take you out your zone. Just
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
But so that's, I think, part of the wellness journey is that we need to be kind to ourselves. And so we think we messed up. Oh, it makes no sense. I'm just going to give up. But part of that is setting realistic expectations. I always tell people Rome was not built in a day. You didn't put on the weight all at once. You're not going to get it all off one time. The healthy weight loss requirement is about a pound or 2 a week.
Okay.
So if you set out a goal that this year is going to be my year, and you stay consistent, it's 52 weeks in a year.
I can't lose 5 pounds in a week.
I mean, you could if you go on a Coke diet or something like that. But we want to maintain it because
1 or 2 pounds a week.
it's the recommended healthy way to lose weight.
I mean, can you notice that? Can you feel that?
You can feel it because here's the thing: for a pound, 1 pound is like 3 to 4 pounds of pressure on your knees. So when you say, I could feel in my knees. So if you lose 10 pounds and walk a mile, that's 48,000 pounds of pressure alleviated. So that's the important thing. So even when we talk about wellness, we often look for a look, and I often tell people is that forget the scale, forget the weight, is tell me how you feel first. Then you will notice how your clothes fit differently. And then we could worry about the weight loss and X, Y, Z. But start where you're at. Sometimes we want to go gung-ho. But I always say, what in your history has proven that you can stick to that goal that you put out there? So set smaller milestones. So if you, back to the 1 or 2 pounds a week, if you stick to that, most of us do not have 104 pounds to lose in a year. So think about if you start, that's quick maths, Dwight. So if you stick to that philosophy, I think you'll make it happen. Set smart goals. I always talk about this: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So if most people's goal is weight loss, so not just I want to lose weight. How much pounds do you want to lose?
But should that be the goal? Should weight loss be the goal, or should the goal be to become healthy?
Right. So when you come to me with that, I say my task is to make sure you're healthy and well.
Okay.
And on that, we're going to attain what goal you want, because some people want weight loss, some people want tone and definition, some people want
all of that.
Right,
Yeah.
all of that.
All
And,
of that.
right. So while we're tackling that, we're going to make sure you're well. We're going to make sure your vital signs are in order, because this was all about what's happening internally. So the healthier you are, the better you are. And once we do it the right way, you can maintain it, and it's stay longer, So you're not going to starve. We're going to actually eat food, eat regularly, and just go through that. And sometimes, sorry, Dwight, still talking. Sometimes it's system overload, because we read so much things and we try to incorporate everything, but just take baby steps. Oftentimes people are concerned, but the micronutrients just need to be concerned, but the macronutrients, which just your protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and how you consume them. And remember, my journey is different than your journey.
Right.
I saw Dwight over the holidays, and true story. So I was on the phone ordering a crack with onions and mayonnaise.
Right.
And he's like, do you eat? I was like, yeah, but
I said, no, that's not for you, right?
It sure was. A, you cannot eat that regularly.
Right.
And B, I can get away with it because of my lifestyle. So if you're not putting in the work I'm putting in, then you can't eat what I'm eating.
Right.
And then even with that, we have to be mindful of what is your goal. Oftentimes people say, I'm on a no-carb diet. But carbohydrates is your energy source.
Right.
So carbohydrates gets a bad rep. But when you eat too much carbs, that's when it turns into store fat and X, Y, Z. So even when people start exercise, I'm no carbs, but where are you going to get your energy to perform? So now you're breaking down your body. Then you're going to be fatigued. And that's where injuries set in. So just baby steps. Be smart about it. Remember, your journey is different than someone else's journey. And get some guidance on it. Oftentimes what I've realized now, I can use DeQuesta because you're in front of me. DeQuesta be like, yeah, girl, I lose this 30 pounds, and all I did is this. And I found out that DeQuesta don't want to tell them the secret what she used. So then when that person starts saying, well, DeQuesta did that, I'm going to do this, and then you realize you're not getting the goals, then you're frustrated. And then oftentimes, too, as well as that, different strokes for different folks.
Right.
So I with my clients, I say, okay, this is what the book says. This is what I found works best for me, because one size does not fit all.
Right. Yeah, because people will say, "Oh, DeQuest is an expert. Let me do," or she'll portray yourself as
Right.
that. Since I lost the 30 pounds, let me
On
tell
Ozempic,
do
but
all
I was
this.
just exercising. Yeah, but I was exercising every day.
I want Ozempic for Trudeau.
No, but you heard the new study on it, right?
No.
You
lots of
put
side
on
effects.
more weight when you come off.
Oh,
it.
wow.
Like,
Okay, no, I
like
don't want
more, not even the same weight, like
More. Oh, wow.
So like they are, and because it's not meant for weight loss, meant for diabetics.
Right.
And the
Right.
side effects was weight loss.
Right.
But you was like, oh, stick
Right.
me.
Right.
But it also goes. Now my little rant. Now it also goes back to putting in the work.
Right.
Some things are here to assist you. Even when we talk about fat burners, I always tell clients, I don't have a problem with fat burners. I mean, fat burners is really the sugar or caffeine anyway they're giving you. But the reality of the situation, put in the work first. Build the base. And if you want to use the fat burner to get you over the hump, so be it. But build the routine of that. I'm going to put in the work. So we build in the lifestyle on your wellness journey so you can maintain it.
Right. Right.
All right, so there are a lot of people who can do one or the other. So they can change their diet and do the things that they're supposed to do and with no problem. And then there are other people who can do all the exercise,
Right.
but they struggle with the diet and vice versa. If the exercise is the problem, what do you say to those people? Like, they just hate it. I can't stand this. I don't want to get up. I don't want to go out late. I don't want to do anything. I don't want like gyms.
Right, okay. But
what do you say to those
many
people?
people hate going to their job, but they still do it.
I love it.
But it's the commitment and the mindset change because we don't want to do difficult stuff unless we want to do difficult stuff.
Well, maybe they don't understand the benefit of the exercise.
Right. So the value of exercise that, besides the high blood bringing the pressure down and stress levels and all that kind of stuff, is longevity and energy to be present in the life of your family. It's okay, let's not wait till the doctor say we have to do this, we have to do that. Then it's too late. So the benefit of exercise is just more energy to do the things you would like to do. So just start where you at. I think oftentimes we say, I just look at the goal, I want to get it without putting in the work. Baby steps are still steps. We can't achieve anything without going through the process.
Yeah.
You're not the best radio host overnight. You put in the work. Right. You know what I mean? The question,
But you are.
I mean, I'm not just saying it because I'm here.
I know.
Miss Customer Service, Miss Seminars. I mean, it took time.
It does take
You know what I
time.
mean? So you build this. So even in any arena, when people see things, they want it, but forget the time it takes, and it's putting in the work in the background, not just necessarily I snap in every time I do something, which is cool, because oftentimes when you do that, you have a whole community of accountability partners then. You don't realize what you're doing because, because they can say, "What happened, girl?
Right.
Where are the pictures?
Right.
Where you at?"
Right.
You know.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
I guess.
that's a side effect of it, you know.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
so
Everybody watching.
so start where you're at. Rome wasn't building. They find yourself an accountability partner, someone who's hold you accountable, not just someone who can. When you say you don't want to work, go say, "Yeah, girl, I ain't into that too," or "Bro, I'm not into that." So whether you start in the gym, whether you go walking, whether you do a YouTube video, whether you get a trainer, it's all about starting. Yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the States, and he has a quote that says, "If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, move." Similar to that. So movement is life. So we have to find ways to move, whether it's dancing, whether it's gardening. It's something you like to do that can help you get in shape.
Right.
So just figure it out that, and don't set yourself up to failure. I prefer morning workouts because no one could mess up my mornings. No one needs you at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? People may need something might happen lately, even as a flat tire, mommy needs you, daddy needs you, spouse needs you. So you might not, that might jeopardize your workout. So, but 5 a.m. is not for everyone.
Right.
So if that's not your time, then find a time that's for you. And one of the biggest things people say is that they don't have the time. I hear that, but 1 hour workout is 4% of your day. And the recommended workout time is, quick maths again, Dwight, it's 3 to 4 times a week,
Right.
30 to 45 minutes a day, a session. So if you take your average work week, which is 40 hours, keep your lunch, so 35 hours. So if you commit 35 hours to your wellness journey, that's about 2 to 3 months, 1 hour, 3 to 4 days a week. You will attain wonders. If you just look at I could go to this job that I hate. Some of us love it, right? And you're doing that most people put in more than 40 hours. but you can't give yourself 40 hours of consistent effort, 35 hours consistent effort on your wellness journey. 3 to 4 sessions a week.
Yeah.
You know, so just commit to yourself. So it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
So once you realize that I'm on a wellness journey and there's no really defined ending, because you go from contemplation to action to maintenance phase, but you realize you go through these phases. You started, and when you set those smaller milestones, you start feeling good about yourself. You start realize I can attain, and I am doing all right. I'm feeling better. I have more energy. And so clothes fitting better. I feel more sexy. I'm happy to be around. People don't mind being around me because, you know, we irritable sometimes, you know. It's hot. We have one extra weight. Our knee is hurting. These children making noise. It's bothersome. You know, so I always believe in the yin and the yang. A healthy body is healthy mind. Some people say in reverse, but I have more mental clarity when I am more focused on my wellness journey.
Wow. All right, so this is going to take us down a very dangerous road. This question, this texter's asking. You ready for this? Yeah. Ask your guest why behaving women are so much fatter than behaving men in general, and what is causing the weight gain.
I do not.
Is that necessarily true? I don't know.
Based on my observational study, I don't know if they did a study in it. I mean, I don't want to be this dude, but we have some nerves with our pot belly, oftentimes speaking about women's bodies.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't go too far to class. I don't go down that tangent, but you know, it's oftentimes people who don't have the right to say it are the ones who are saying it.
Right.
Technically, women have more fatty tissue than men. That's just standard. But we are dying at a higher rate than women because of high blood pressure and hypertension. So that speaks to our lifestyles.
Right.
So they're living longer for whatever weight or size you put on them. I think it was 2021, Powell, we ranked number 16 in diabetes, and the Caribbean Public Health Agency said the Bahamas ranked number 1 on obesity. So this is a problem all around. It's not just a female problem. It's not an age problem. It's all around. We're seeing a rise in childhood obesity as well. So when we're saying these things, it's just put in the work, bro. Stay in your own lane. If you have a challenge with that, what are you doing to help that person along?
I mean, but just with organizing a walk this year, I helped a corporate organization with a walk. And one of the things that we recognized was that there was a demand for 4X shirts for both genders. It wasn't just like, okay, the men are requesting 4X, when in the years previous, 3X was like really the highest that you would get for a request for a shirt. So we're becoming larger and larger.
Because it's becoming more accepted because we can't speak reality. Because we're saying, and once again, Dwight didn't get canceled. So Lizzo, when Lizzo came out and was, you know, all naked, yes, you have a right to do whatever you want to do, but you can't call that healthy. So I think that's what was missing about it. You have a right to be proud of your body.
Right.
But we cannot accept it as being healthy. It's not. You know what I mean? So we have to be mindful of these things when we accept. So if we see Jay with his big belly out, well, if Jay big belly out, my big belly could be out too. I mean, focus on you and try to be the best you can be, and don't worry about what's happening elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
And I just want to also ask Jay one other question, because it seems that some of our fast food restaurants are like the number 1 in the world, or the number 2 in the world as it relates to demand for it, right? How do we cultivate a mindset that moves us away from the type of food that will cause obesity? How do you get your mind right?
You have to have a commitment. I mean, it tastes good. Let's be real. And much things taste better than fries, which is a deep fried carbohydrate with salt on it, then sugar with the ketchup
and mayonnaise.
Right. Let me hear you. Hey, right? So it tastes good, and then it's convenient. So all these things play on us, but we can do a better job of mitigating these things if we do the proper planning. So if we plan our meals, we plan what is next. So you just take a time on your Sunday or whatever day and just put things into place. We know if you plan before your job, you're going to perform better. If you plan before you come in ready, you're going to perform better. If you plan before a function, you're going to. So we plan for everything else except ourselves. So how are we going to take care of ourselves? How are we going to make this a reality. We just can't just throw a goal out there and have no plan to get it done. So we have to be committed to ourselves, avoid the pitfalls. If you don't want to eat the cookies and you're the primary grocery shopper, don't buy the cookies. Like, make it harder for you to do.
Yeah. And like you proved when I saw you, right? You can have these things in moderation,
Right, in moderation.
once in a while. Yeah.
But moderation is the key, because honestly, like with our survivors, they talk moderation, but moderation is actually habit. And so you've had to identify that moderation is once every 3 weeks, once a month. Moderation isn't twice a week.
Yeah, and it's also where you're at. Like, so I'm not a big fan of cheat meals. I mean, I cheat because I don't even call it cheating, right? Because what we do is that I did so good this week, I'm going to reward myself with something of high caloric value. It's going to take away everything. That's not a reward.
Right. That's a setback.
That's right. So we have to be mindful of that. And did you really earn it?
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you take some stuff back, and that's why I'm not big on wholesale change unless the doctor demands it right away. If you eat, for example, I used to put sugar in my tea, right? 3 spoons of sugar, so I went to 2.5, went to 2, went to 1.5.
So gradually.
Right, and then I start trying the honey and stuff, didn't like it, so I just no sugar now.
Right.
But it's a step, and it's our journey. We need to be mindful that it's ours, and we don't have to prove anything to Dwight or prove anything to DeQuesta and put extra pressure and stress on ourselves, because it is hard to make a behavioral change in anything you do. So be kind to yourself. It takes time. And just like any success story, even in entrepreneurs, any business, it's up and down. So it's not linear that we're just going to be successful once we start.
Correct.
You can get tired, you can get injured, you don't gonna feel like it, but you just have to be committed to it and be okay that, you know, today wasn't just the best day, but I'm going to regroup and try again tomorrow.
So it's not healthy to say, by Valentine's Day, I'm going to be this size and I'm going to look like this.
So it's not, it all depends on which the goal, if it's realistic, because I perform better with timelines. So when I have a goal, I focus in, I zoom in, but don't forget the recommended time value is 1 to 2 pounds. So if you're saying that fits in that time frame, yes, but then that's a realistic time frame. Now, based on your history, do you have the fortitude to do 4 or 5 days a week to make it happen?
Right.
So you have to be real with yourself. And also we starve to lose weight, right? So, okay, the weight loss, but that's still not healthy. That still don't mean you're healthy. Slim does not equal fit.
Correct. Right.
You know what I mean? Even in the gym, you could have a bunch of muscles, but if you're not doing your cardiovascular activity, if you're not eating right, your arteries clogged up. So we have to be mindful of the exterior giving a certain look.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know?
All right, so you got a whole lot of stuff going on, a whole calendar of events. Tell us about this. Where did this come from, and what are you hoping to accomplish here?
Well, DeQuesta told me one time, failing to plan is planning to fail.
Wow.
So
let them know the girl coach you.
Yeah, man. So you got to give credit where credit due. So I just have my year plan notes. So sometimes people ask what's happening. So, and it also is going to keep me accountable and on track. So we started off January 8th, a 4-week quick jump start to get back on the ball, get the ball rolling, get things together. So this cycle is more about circuit training, so muscle endurance, cardiovascular. We're getting it together so to help you on the weight loss journey. And what I'm really excited about coming up February 14th to March 29th is the 40 days to better you, mind, body, and soul. So we're going to be not just exercising, but we're going to have a new daily affirmation.
Nice.
We're going to have a task each day for you to complete. And you're also going to have a 3 to 4 minute read on the activity for that day. So it's really transformational. So we have to be mindful. The mind, body, and soul is intertwined. So if one thing is out of balance, then we're out of whack. So we're trying to create balance so we can be the best person we need to be. And then after that is the run challenge from April 1st to May 4th. We're dealing with that. So we could take you from the couch to the 5K.
Oh, wow.
So me and you.
Oh, okay.
Right, okay.
It's not 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you'll pick a time.
Okay.
Right? So, and even those who are running, if you want to increase your speed, your distance, your endurance, we're going to deal with stuff like that. And then also I'm excited about is a man challenge, strictly for men. You know, so what I realized, granted, we don't like the exercise anyway, for whatever reason, or we just want focus on muscular strength and not even muscular endurance or cardiovascular. We in the gym only working the upper body, forgetting about the abs and the legs, and which is your base and your foundation. And what I've come to understand is that you'll see more women working out. But it's not that the men don't want to work out, it's that we have insecurities as well. And there's been times when men came to the workout and women who are, like the man spoke about, who are bigger size than they are, performing activity. And women beating me doing this.
Right.
You know, so oftentimes we fade to the background and don't do it. All right, for me, man, that's what I'm. So this is strictly for men. We can make sure we get it so we can be in an environment where we be able to say some things that we might not be able to say if the gender sex was around. So, and then it's just strictly for men. It's about time we have some stuff for us.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm just being real. Like, and then we're back to 5K, the J-Way, on the next installment where, you know, it's the 5K, but, you know, we mix it up, we make it sexy, put some surprises on the route. So we break it the monotony of the run. That's June 22nd. And then during the summer, we're going to have a kids camp. And this is important as well. So the kids camp is going to also focus on lifestyle changes and dealing with strictly, just want overweight kids.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the reality is we speak about things being in our DNA. But I think, yes, that's true. But I think what's most important is that habits are we're more habit forming than what's in our DNA. So we could change the mindset of the youth to get them understand, and they take it to their parents. Instead of talking about generational wealth, we could have generational health. So therefore we move from that. So it's just information, you know, because once we have the information, then we can do better. Because oftentimes we want to do better, but just don't know how.
Yeah.
So, and that's where we're going to start there. Then some people on summer break traveling, so we back to basics. Let's get back on it. We're in the fall. Let's finish it strong from September 16th to October 25th. And then introducing this year the inaugural Impossible Mile Challenge. I can't give too much information on that yet.
It sounds juicy.
It sounds juicy. So as a team event, so I don't know if we can get the radio host or Dwight can get his team together. We can get a commitment from him to go outside. And then we finish off with the
mile or miles?
Mile, 1 mile.
1 mile.
One mile.
That's nothing.
One mile.
You walk a mile to get out of the studio.
Okay.
To get outside. So that should be easy.
Right, but you saying that last week I was in the airport and this man literally cussed he walked from checking in through once he came out of security to get to the gate because it's like it's a walking a mile and he cussed the entire time because it's too far to walk. And I was like, this dude serious? And he was really serious.
But see, when you're healthy, you'd be like, okay, no problem.
Right.
No big deal. All right, so this sounds like mind and body.
Yes, because it cannot be achieved because it is tough. It's no. While it's simple, it's not necessarily easy. It is tough to maintain, to do anything. You know what I mean? And then get you right because so much things pulling at you, and it's easy to order food. It's easy to stay on the couch. So the diet part and the exercise part, so all these things you have to bring it together. And I'm big on mind because our J Fitness tagline is "Get Your Mind Right."
You have a book, Get Your Mind Right? No, I didn't know the book.
No, it's a chapter in the book, The Heart of Responding, yes.
Okay.
So I also author, so it's 3 books.
Okay.
Heart of Responding, and then we also have 45 lessons from a middle-aged man, and there's also the book of poetry.
You see why you have coaching?
Yeah, good job. Pull it out of me, coach. Put me in, coach. Put me in.
Wow. All right, so how do people be a part of this, Jay? What do they need to do?
They could reach out to me. I'm 359-1156. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. JFitness242, that's JAY Fitness 242, or email me at jfitness242@gmail.com. That's JAYFitness242 gmail.com, and we'll make it happen.
Okay, excellent stuff. Great tips. A lot of good advice there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. J Fitness, thank you.
All right,
thank you, sir. Donovan J. Roll. And we gotta take part in at least some of these events, right?
Yeah, maybe the mile thing.
Yeah,
me, you,
more.
We'll
get the whole team together.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We can do that. Yeah.
All right. We're going to break for news headlines, and we'll be back with Morning Blend Business. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
When I'm walking down them rocky, narrow dirt roads with a basket of
I come from down home. That's where the island folks bake their potato bread. They bake it down home, outside in the Dutch oven down home. Wrapped in banana leaf down home. My, it tastes so sweet down home. Yeah. If you're looking for a little entertainment, I'll tell you, you don't have to travel far. Cause them rake and scrape boys will excite you. On weekends they play at the neighbor's.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean. And this morning, we are talking with the Consumer Protection Commission. They've got a Providers Education Forum coming up. And this morning, joining us, we have Executive Secretary Colette Butterfield. We have Education Research and Training Manager Austina Smith-Knowles. And we have Complaints and Investigations Manager Datus Farrington. Good morning to all of you. Welcome. Welcome back, who's been here before. Good to see you.
Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Good morning.
Welcome. Okay, so we'll get into the Providers Education Forum in a bit, but remind folks about the Consumer Protection Commission, exactly what it is that you all do and what you're responsible for, especially as opposed to some of the other agencies out there. Colette?
Yes. Good morning, Bahamas, and I would also like to say a very special good morning to my Minister, the Honorable Michael B. Halkitis, our permanent secretary, Ms. Donella Bodie, and our executive director, Ms. Shami Farrington. So the Consumer Protection Commission is an agency under the Ministry of Economic Affairs. We are mandated by law to address the consumer complaints against sales and service providers. Our primary function is to investigate consumer complaints, educate the public of their consumer rights, and advise the Minister generally in relation to consumer issues, just to name a few.
Okay, all right. So there's been some changes, some new legislation. Let's talk about that and what has changed. What's new versus what we were doing before.
Okay, there has actually been quite a bit of changes since our executive director, Shami Farrington, took office in July of 2023. One of the first changes that were made is the relocation of our office. We were originally in Charlotte House, downtown, but through visionary leadership, like I said earlier, she saw fit to place us somewhere which is more accessible to the public. We are now located on the Tonic Williams Darling Highway, and we have sufficient free parking.
Yeah.
And we are more accessible. We sit next to our sister agency, who deals with price control and rent control. But we call them our sister agency. So that was one of the most important changes that she saw fit to move. Additionally, another change came a little bit later in October, when we had our logo competition. And can I tell you, it really shed light. I mean, our name started ringing around this country like a bee. Our logo competition, our winner actually came all the way
from the Ellen Coakley Secondary High School in Exuma.
Okay.
Yes. And we rebranded our logo because it did not really reflect the consumer. It more or less looked almost like a legal entity. But a young gentleman by the name of Orlando Ferguson, whom he placed his entry, and the logo now has a hand with the money bag. I wish you can see it.
There you go.
Okay, it's right there. So it just represents the way the Consumer Protection Commission protects consumers and their money. It also has the scales to represent our legal stance in this issue. So that was another one of the great changes that happened since Executive Director Farrington took office. As a result of that logo competition, that was actually a historic month for us at the Consumer Protection Commission. In that month, we saw a record-breaking. Mr. Farrington, can you help me with that number?
Yeah, surely. Good morning, Bahamas. Yeah, since relocating and since rebranding, I can tell you we had a significant increase in walk-ins.
Oh.
It's a shame to mention this, but in years past, we saw only about 2 or 4 persons walk into the former location, which was in the Charlotte House downtown, as you are aware of, simply because there was no ample parking.
Okay. Yep.
That's the dead-end street, if you recall, Charlotte and Shirley Street.
Yeah.
Up that hill, that's a dead end. There's no parking. Parking is reserved for persons who work in the building. So the public didn't have access. Not only that, we're on the second floor of a building, a high-rise building, you know. The disabled find it challenging. The common man found it difficult to get there. And so once we relocated, due to the visionary leadership as mentioned, we saw an uptick in walk-ins. People were literally coming in our doors every other day, driving up and stuff. Wow. So we saw a significant increase in that, not only in the walk-in complaints, but actually our hotline was ringing off the hook after the relaunch of our logo. And we did several speaking engagements like this, interviews on radio and TV. And we saw that the public was more aware and cognizant that we did exist, that they did have an avenue to call on to assist them with their consumer complaints. And Dwight, I am proud to say that today we have a record-breaking 194 complaints on record in 2023. Wow. The previous year had 54.
Oh my
year
goodness.
before that was 24 complaints. So we have quadrupled our numbers since 2022, which speaks to the fact that Bahamians are now cognizant. They know their rights. They know the institution to come to, the Consumer Protection Commission. And I believe coupled with that is the fact that our resolution success rate is very high as well. You know, and I have a chart here that reflects that. In 2022, we had 52 complaints, and we resolved to 93% of those complaints, leaving just 3 outstanding. And where we have complaints that we can resolve, we are advised that the persons take it to court. And that is the outlook there. And in 2023...
Tell us a little bit about those complaints and how they were resolved. How do you do this?
And no, I'm not at liberty to go into details and name names.
Sure.
But for the record, I would say that primary issue that the general public has with providers and businesses alike is that they do not respect their basic consumer rights, as simple as giving them a receipt. You know, I had a prominent banking institution reported for not giving a receipt, and they wrote us saying that the reason they did not give the receipt is because the consumer didn't ask for it. But the law says they shall be given a receipt. Shall implies that it must happen every time.
Right.
So as simple as that, you know. We also have complaints where persons are given goods and services that are not up to the standard. Or, for example, you may order a gray refrigerator, they ship to you a black one. You're entitled to exchange that or get cash back if you don't have it. And the provider may say, well, we don't have any more blacks in stock, so you take it or leave it. No, you don't take it or leave it. You give them their money back until you can find them a black one. Okay, simple stuff like that, you know. And I think if providers just take more interest in customer care, they can avoid these kind of complaints coming before us and resolve these things internally. But they choose to just take a stance where they are not willing to work with the consumer.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, we know when we used to do these segments often on the show, there was always the complaint about a lack of teeth, and but that has changed with what happened last November.
Yes,
the Consumer
definitely.
Rights Act.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Mr. Strom, because some of those new laws that were implemented, one is the functions and powers of the commission has been strengthened. The obligation of providers to be registered has been added. So every provider must now register with the Consumer Protection Commission, okay? And not only with the licensing authority and not only with internal revenue, but also with the Consumer Protection Commission. The law now requires providers to give full disclosure and the price of goods and services to be displayed. Also, we have the details of goods to the provider. The details of goods to be provided to the consumer is required. Measurements of goods is required. Also, receipts are to be given to the consumer at all times. Rights to refund has been addressed and strengthened. The right to receive refund in the same manner to which the consumer paid. One time ago, if you paid with cash, the provider would say, well, I'll give you a check.
Store credit.
Store credit.
Right.
No, you give me my cash back. I gave
Really?
you
This
cash,
is
give me
the
cash.
law now.
You
Right.
must refund in the manner in
So
which it
on
was
those
paid.
receipts where it says no refund or
That's store policy. Store policy doesn't trump the law. The law
Okay.
says you must give the consumer the right to choose whether they want cash back, store credit, or exchange or
Are
refund.
these merchants aware of this now?
That's why we're having the forum.
Okay.
Some of them, I don't know if they get it.
Yes, sir. But what is most interesting is that we're now addressing bait advertising. So you cannot bait advertise. We can elaborate on that a little later. But also harassment and coercion is now prohibited. For when you can't harass and coerce customers to buy or make purchases or entrap them. You can't offer gifts and prizes to the consumer as a provider. You know, the full cost of
What do you mean by that?
Incentives to get you to purchase. Buy two, get one free.
Oh, you can't
and it's
do
not
that.
really free. It's incorporated in the price, for example.
Right.
You know, and I don't want to get too deep into the legal aspect of this because our
I have
competent
some.
attorney on staff, the executive
I could
director,
name some
will
companies
be
who need to be
addressing these
investigated.
very issues. She will be addressing these issues at the forum. So we want the consumers to come out and the providers alike so they can be properly educated on the law and the new act.
So
Okay?
how are you policing this in terms of is it waiting for consumers to report to you, or is it similar to like what price control should be where you go out?
It starts with education, and that is why we're here today. And our education, the manager, Ms. Osina Smith Knowles, she will get more into that so
Okay.
we can further understand.
Okay.
Let's get right into that mic there.
Okay, so the conclave or a forum that the Consumer Protection Commission under the executive directorship of Attorney at Law, Ms. Shami Farrington, is working diligently to support our local providers in meeting the new Consumer Protection Act 2023 compliance obligations. And this forum, this Providers Educational Forum, is just one of many initiatives that the CPC will be undertaking to ensure that the marketplace is fair and that consumers have a louder voice and stronger rights, as our mission states. You will find that the new act itself has basically extracted in some areas and then reamalgamated and conglomerated in other sections so that now it's presented in a manner that there are more digestible bits and pieces for public consumption. So it's easier now for the public to go through the act and pinpoint consumers and providers' rights and obligations in when it comes to the law. But the forum itself, we recognize the fact that it's still left for interpretation. So the forum will provide scenarios, possible scenarios, and whether or not we'll determine whether or not the consumer does have a right in certain scenarios and what obligations those providers do have under the law. And, I want to make it clear that we're not saying that all providers are unscrupulous or unconscionable. We know that there are persons out there who they want to be
just most. No, that's a joke. That's a joke.
They want to be compliant, but they're just not aware of what they need to do to come into compliance and what their obligations really are. So the forum is to provide the platform for them to learn more about what they need to do in order to let the customers be what they should be, which is king. So on that note, right, that the complaints department at this time, because we're just gearing up to really come down on prolific offenders, as the case may be. So the complaints department, headed by Mr. Davis Farrington, is indeed at this time the nucleus of the commission. So we measure our success rate based on the amount of complaints that we see. At some point we would like to say that, hey, we're not getting as many complaints because we're doing that good of a job in terms of getting those providers to be compliant and more focused on the customer and ensuring that their rights are being met. So having said that, the forum is to take place tentatively on Saturday, February 22nd, 2024 at Bahama Convention Center. And you may register by simply calling our offices at 604-9020 to get further information. You can email us at complaints@cpcbahamas.gov.bs, or you can call Mr. Farrington on his hotline at 357-7898. And I just want to let everyone out there know, all providers, this forum is specifically for providers to help you guys understand that we accept the fact that you are stakeholders. And so we want to support you in coming compliant with the law, because Mr. Farrington and his team of investigators, you don't want to come face to face with them if you are infringing on the rights of consumers. So the forum, I'd like to invite you all to just come on down. I think it's scheduled to begin at 11.
Okay.
Yes.
It's free?
Yes, it is free.
Okay.
Registration is free, attendance is free.
Okay.
And we will be offering refreshments.
Okay. So when you say provider, is this anyone that serves the public?
Right.
Right, because we want to be very crystal clear on.
Once you offer a service or a good, you are a provider.
So all merchants, anybody who has
Yes.
clients and customers.
Selling newspaper on the side of the street.
Okay. Say that one more time into the mic.
The gentleman who's selling the newspaper on the side of the street, he's welcome to come as well.
Okay. He's a provider as well. Yeah. So all of us are providers. Yeah. Okay. How many people can you accommodate?
Well, we're trying to get the providers to at least send 2 or 3 representatives from your establishment.
So you're looking for 300 people?
Yeah,
roughly. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, about.
We are.
Yeah, it's big. It's large. Yeah.
We
Right.
are planning on accommodating 250 persons.
Okay.
So we are advising the public to register. If you look on our Facebook page by tomorrow morning, you will see the SPAR scan where you can scan and the application will be accessible to you.
Okay.
We have in this month alone, and we are basically in the middle of the month, we have 22 complaints already. This
As in
January? Indeed.
January.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we are basically halfway through January. And so that is just inspiring us to ensure that every single provider who can be there, they are there. Additionally, we are inviting persons from the Family Islands to come to Nassau, because we understand that we also get complaints from the Family Island. As a matter of fact, the new Consumer Protection Act 2023 allows persons to now make complaints without having to come into the office. I see this as a great advantage for the disabled community, because in the event that you are unable to write, for any reason, you can give a verbal complaint to our investigations team at the Consumer Protection Commission.
I know you can't say too much, but can you give us a general idea of some of the complaints? What types of things you're seeing at this time?
Okay,
Without getting into specifics, I guess.
You mean scenarios, or you just want to know the
Sure.
general? Yeah, we've had cases where persons would have, for example, the service industry, particularly these makeup artists and these hairstylists who operate from home. They require you to make, it came about as a need during the COVID and the lockdowns that you have to make digital,
Payments.
you had to make digital payment and appointments before coming to the residence of these persons and show a COVID test. Well, what those providers or merchants are doing now is that they're still instituting that requirement, but then when persons show up for their appointments, they don't show up. Or the door is locked. No one's answering the door. But they've already collected the online commitment purchase. So we find quite a number of those cases happening lately. So it's really scamming.
Yeah.
It's a scam. You're getting persons to commit in payment to come to an appointment that you yourself know as a provider you're not going to show up.
Wow.
That's been happening.
Unethical.
That's rough.
Yeah,
Wow.
very unethical.
Yeah.
All right, so we have to take a break, but I just want to. There are other groups that are regulators, and so some of these things don't fall under you all. Just let people know. I know IRCA is one, and let people know what you all are responsible for and what other people are responsible for.
Well, this new law actually makes it possible for the Consumer Protection Commission to work hand in hand with other agencies such as IRCA, such as BBSQ, and such as Consumer Affairs and Price Control and what have you. So when we find that we have a complaint that we would refer to another agency, rest assured we are at the same time investigating that complaint as well, and from a consumer perspective, making sure that the consumer's rights are definitely enforced.
Well, maybe on the other side of the break, too, we could talk about education for consumers, because I know you're putting this together for providers. Is there a plan for another session for consumers? Maybe when we come back from the break, if we don't have time.
And we've got some text messages and a couple of calls coming in as well. So we'll get to all of that after the break. We're talking with the Consumer Protection Commission, and we'll be back. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio. Stay with us.
Walking down them rocky, narrow dirt roads with a basket of potatoes on my head. Oh, don't you worry, I come from down home. That's where the island folks bake their potato bread. They bake it down home, outside in the Dutch oven down home, wrapped in banana leaf down home. My, it tastes so sweet down home.
Struggling to repay your loan? Let us help you get back on track with payment terms that suits your financial situation and improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Inquire about our restructured loans today. Call us at 356-7764.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL. Growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Following the closing of its 3 Pizza Hut locations on New Providence over the weekend, Swank's Pizza Restaurants Limited, which operates the brand in the Bahamas, says the majority of its employees will be absorbed into other operations of the Myers Group of companies. Earlier this week, Eyewitness News reported that staff and customers were shocked by the seemingly abrupt closure. However, operations in a statement yesterday said that the operators said that the decision to cease operations, albeit difficult, came after the careful consideration of various factors. It says part of the closure, Pizza Hut Nassau has been working closely with both the Ministry of Labor and Pizza Hut employees to provide the best support during the transition. Pizza Hut's 3 locations were on Prince Charles Drive, West Bay Street, and Carmichael Road. You can read more about this in today's Guardian Business section. The opposition raising concern surrounding the finer details of the government's recently closed $500 million loan with Banco Santander, which was backed by the Inter-American Development Bank's first loss policy-based guarantee. East End MP Kwesi Thompson, who is the opposition's shadow of Minister of Finance, says the government failed to be transparent about the details of how much the loan will ultimately cost the Bahamian people and how the financing will be spent. Opposition leader Michael Pintard says that the government must act swiftly to send the message that Grand Bahama is still open for business following the closure of Pharmachem Technologies so that the island doesn't suffer further economic falloff. The fine chemical contract manufacturing organization ceased operations earlier this month, citing unprecedented challenges. Pintard, during a press conference at FNM headquarters yesterday, says that we need to know to what extent have they crafted and are utilizing this extensive PR apparatus to send a message to the community, the international community, that Grand Bahama remains open for business, notwithstanding what happened to Pharmachem. Overseas, more executives are feeling better about the global economy, but a growing number don't think their companies will survive the coming decade without a major overhaul because of pressure from climate change and technology like artificial intelligence, AI. That's according to a new survey of CEOs by one of the world's largest consulting firms, PwC. The survey of more than 4,700 CEOs worldwide, released Monday as business elites, political leaders, and activists descended on the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. It showed a mixed picture of the coming years. Of the executives, 38% were optimistic about the strength of the economy, up from 18% last year, when the world was mired in high inflation, weak growth, rising interest rates, and more. The CEO's expectation of economic decline has dropped to 45% from a record high 73% last year, and fewer saw their company as highly exposed to the risk of geopolitical conflict, according to the PwC Global CEO Survey. That's despite wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, including disruptions to global trade from attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels on commercial ships in the Red Sea. But even with the improved economic outlook, the challenge isn't close to over, with the World Bank saying last week that it expects the global economy would slow for a 3rd consecutive year in 2024. Meanwhile, the executives felt worse about the prospects for their company's ability to weather big changes. The survey shows 45% of the respondents were worried that their businesses wouldn't be viable in a decade without reinvention, up from 39% last year. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Monday, your market movers, J.S. Johnson moving 1,250 shares, closing unchanged at 1582. Consolidated Water up 11 cents, closing at 673. Emira Incorporated up 8 cents, closing at 937. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,852.81, up 0.19. That's your Market Watch, and that is your Morning Business Report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Walking down them rocky, narrow dirt roads with a basket of potatoes on my head. Oh, don't you worry, I come from down home. That's where the island folks bake their potato bread. They bake it down home, outside in the Dutch oven down home, wrapped in banana leaf down home.
We are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean. We've got Colette Butterfield, Austina Smith-Knowles, and Datus Farrington from the Consumer Protection Commission with us this morning, and talking about the CPC and about the upcoming Providers Education Forum that's coming up in February. All right, so before the break, Duquesa was asking about consumers who need some education as well. What can you tell us about that, Colette?
Yes, so we will have forums for consumers as well as stakeholders. As a matter of fact, we have created an entire unit, the Training and Compliance Unit, simply to ensure that the public is aware and that they can access information. We are also working on our digital platforms to ensure that persons can access us, if not by phone or email, or when our office is open, they may have a question and they can just access the information digitally. Last year, before, maybe sometime in December, we would have met with Commissioner of Police, and we actually solidified a unity where we work closely with them, because we realize that a lot of the complaints that the police take on, they can be referred to us. And thanks to the new act, we can address those issues. So we have a lot of persons complaining about ASUs, Ponzi schemes. So the reality is a lot of persons cannot afford an attorney, and they don't have to. They simply come into the Consumer Protection Commission with their evidence, their receipt of payment, whatever agreement they may have had, and our trained and qualified investigations officers are there. And where they do need guidance, our Executive Director, Attorney Shami Farrington, always lends a helping hand. So we always ensure that even if we don't know something, we have a great resource in our executive director in terms of the legalities of handling situations. So pretty much we think that we're actually ready to handle a lot. But what we want to do is ensure that the public is trained.
So, but not complaints about the police. That's not.
But hold on now, Mr. Farrington, considering everything that Ms. Colette has just said, right? Can you tell us if your recommendation is for consumers to initiate a resolution with the provider prior to coming to you, or should they come to you as a first course of action?
Yes,
What's your guidance?
Most definitely, we would want you to go first to the provider. If you find yourself in a predicament at a store where you're not getting the goods and services that you paid for, you should ask to speak with a manager. If the manager is unable to assist you, not unable to, but unwilling to assist you, especially where you're sure that your rights are being violated, then you inform us. But first warn that manager that if you're not going to give me the service I expect and that I am entitled to, and you don't respect my consumer rights, I will let you know now. I'm going straight to Consumer Protection Commission. Usually when providers hear that, they tend to do the right thing.
Whenever you mention the regulator, everybody gets...
they tend to do the right thing. Because I've had numerous complaints where the same day, Mr. Farrington, I have a complaint. This happened at this store. And I said, ma'am, I took your information. Everything is documented. But here's what I want you to do. Reach out to the provider, let them know that you contacted us, and see what happens, and then get back to me. Same day, they'll call back, Mr. Farrington, thank God you told me to call them back. When I went back, they said, in fact, some persons were so happy that not only did they get a refund, they got extra credit in the stores. You know what I mean? I guess it's a bribe. I don't know.
All right, we got a lot of calls coming in. We'll get to those in a bit. Callers, just give us a moment. Something you said, okay, so the price of goods and services must be displayed. And disclosed, right?
Yes.
That's part of the new Consumer Rights Act.
That is correct.
We know this is an age-old problem here.
Yes.
Hard to find prices on items, and you have to struggle or if they are on the shelf, the item is nowhere near the. This continues to be a big problem.
Also, item displayed is different. Sorry, the price display is different at the cash register.
Yes.
You get there and you find it's like a few dollars more.
Right.
That's a no-no.
Right.
The law speaks specifically to that. The advertised price,
Here's the price.
actually the lowest price advertised is that price you should pay.
Okay.
at the cash register.
Some of these cash registers don't know about that.
Boy.
Okay, so are you going to go around? Are you responsible for this, or is it price control? Who's supposed to go around to make sure that?
Well, the Price
there
Control
are-
Commission deals specifically with bread basket, the price of bread basket items. Okay, we deal with the price of any other good.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's get to some of these text messages. This person says here, can you ask your guests about security bag searches? Is this legal?
That is a question for the police. Unfortunately, we're not at liberty to discuss that because it's not in our laws to
Bag searches where?
I don't
Like
understand.
when you
When do
leave
they
a
do
store,
Yeah.
people are now asking you.
The right to search is a legal question for the police.
Yeah.
You've experienced
No.
Yeah, at a lot of the
Yeah.
grocery stores, mostly you see as you leave, they want to look at your stuff and sign your receipt and stuff.
I mean, is that?
Yeah.
Is that?
I don't know.
I mean, they're not searching your personal bag.
Not your personal. No.
I mean,
they're
is this
searching what you purchase, or not. And sometimes they don't even look. Sometimes it's just they just sign a receipt for you to walk out, which I don't know that it makes sense.
Should
but
we be
I think
concerned about
that is something that I would prefer not to discuss on this show because it's not a consumer protection portfolio. It's more of a police issue. And so I would say ask the person to reach out to the police or the local police station and get more answers on that one.
I mean,
because
if they
the right
wanna
to
look
say
in your
the
handbag,
the
I
law
think
does
now
speak to
that's
the
something else.
That's a problem.
The law
in your
does
shopping bag, I don't really necessarily see what the big deal is. Is
Again,
it just me?
We understand. We understand that
I don't
you
want to go on
cannot.
record.
Yeah,
I don't
we
want to go on
understand
record
that you
speaking to
can't
that
speak
because
to
it's
it,
not something that
you
the
know?
Consumer Protection Commission has on its law books.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you that we're looking forward to having our executive director, Ms. Shami Farrington, coming on next week.
Okay.
So what we're not able to answer today, hopefully she will be able to address
Okay.
them when she comes on next week.
I love talking to Charmy.
Yes.
Okay, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi. No, we had a couple of them waiting. Let's take this one. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight and your guest.
Hi.
Good morning.
My complaint is about cerveza, which is beer in Spanish. I
Is
cannot
what,
take
sorry?
it no more.
Beer.
It is just terrible. I mean, if you use a good drinking beer from the States, it's fresh, no taste, and it comes in a different box even. Why is it coming in a brown box here and a different box in the States? Now from two different factory or the Chinese making it? I mean, it's just like, could you test it to see what's in it? Sometimes I even get a numbness in my tongue. It numbs your tongue.
I suspect that's for the Standards Bureau, maybe?
Yes, he would have to definitely converse with BBSQ or the Standards Bureau.
Or change brands.
Yes, because the new act speaks to persons making complaints outside of the Bahamas. For example, if you purchase a good or item in the Bahamas and you are outside of the Bahamas, the act speaks to addressing that, but it doesn't speak to us addressing things that were sold outside of the Bahamas and to the Bahamas.
Okay.
We don't do that.
Okay.
All right, one more call, and then we'll get to the text messages. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your guests as well. Dwight, I mean, you answered one of the questions in regards to the individual pricing of items in these stores, right? So I hope that will be addressed because they got these markers. Then they say, okay, you can take it to the scanner. So you have to go like every item. The price is not right, so you got to be walking up and down. So please deal with that. The other thing is, I know that the gentleman mentioned the fact that banks. What kind of oversight do you have with banks? Does that come out? Do certain things come under you and under the central bank? Because these banks seem to be doing whatever they want to do. Who has oversight of that? Because I tried the central bank and they told me that don't come under them or whatever. Like these banks, they just doing what they want to do.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To answer the caller, sir, I would say that we have had complaints against banking institutions, particularly the exorbitant fees for making deposits has come up lately. You shouldn't have to pay to make a deposit to the bank.
Oh, hallelujah.
But we are reviewing those kind of complaints and talking and working closely with the Central Bank of the Bahamas, who regulates banks. And so I will not elaborate on that in much detail, except to say that we are cognizant, we are aware of the concerns of the consumers as it relates to commercial banks, and we are closely working with the stakeholders, central bank, and others to address those concerns.
Okay.
So we will hear from them. You will hear from us soon on those matters relating to commercial banks.
Just let's see if we can get through these really quickly. This person says here, what about the 30-day return policy? I bought a part for a car, which was the wrong part given to me, and because I am on the Family Islands, it took longer to return the part. The store said I cannot return it because I missed the 30 days by 3 days. Oh, boy.
Well, that all depends. Our warranty is extended. The manufacturer's warranty, no matter what part of the world the manufactured good was made, extends to the consumer in any other country. So if something has a 1-year warranty that was made in China and it lands in the Bahamas and is sold to you, Dwight, by next year, the same date, you still have a warranty on that item, no matter what the store policy says.
Okay.
The law says the warranty extends to the consumer. So I would say to the texter, the caller, or anyone who has my ear, that once you make a good or you purchase a good or a service and there's a warranty, expected date of warranty, that warranty extends to you as a consumer. Okay, so I if you find that you're in a predicament where the provider is telling you that you're not entitled, that your warranty has expired, and you know full well that it is not, please come and see us. We'll be happy, very happy to hear from you.
Yeah, well, it's a tricky situation though. I mean, because
what about return policy?
There's no trick to it. In that Family Islanders experience, the date he made a report or complaint to the merchant is the date within the warranty period.
Right.
Is the date they have to honor.
Okay.
They cannot say, shipping caused a delay. The shipping has no bearing on it.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Consumers have a responsibility as well. You know, when you purchase an item, I mean, I know sometimes we have this thing where we say, I don't need this right now, but you have a responsibility. Open your item, check your item, ensure that it's not defective, and you make that report as soon as possible. I know I do it sometimes too. I'm gonna buy this and put it up, and then when you open it the next 3 months, you realize it's not working. But in actuality, you have a responsibility to ensure that your items are not defective in an ample time.
And I'm glad you said that, Carla, because even when I purchase lunch, if I go to Wendy's, I'm opening that bag and making sure everything I paid for is in that bag. I don't wait till I pull off and then figure it out.
But I mean, I do have a question though. How does the warranty impact the return policy? Because a store may say you can only return within 30 days, but the warranty on this product is a year. And it's not that the product is defective, it's that you don't need it anymore.
Really quickly.
Yeah. Again, the law specifically says that you're only entitled to a refund for a defective or damaged good. Okay. So that is the requirement. You must have a defective or damaged good.
So this texter needs to talk to you all.
Yes.
For protection.
Yes.
Really quickly, someone's asking if you have anything to do with landlords, if they have an issue with the landlord.
That's our sister agency,
Rent Control Commission. Yeah.
Before we go, I would just like to once again say a very special good morning to my minister, our minister, Mr. Michael B. Alkidas, our permanent secretary, Ms. Darnella Bodie, our executive director, Ms. Shami Farrington, and our chairman, Mr. Walter Ferguson.
Thank you.
And before leaving too, I would like to say also to remind the public to contact us at 24/7 on our complaints hotline. It's 357-7898. That's 357-7898. Any time of day, any time of night, you will get an answer to that line.
Okay. And again, the Providers Education Forum in February.
The 22nd at Bahama Convention Center.
How to register again, quick? How to register again?
Okay, so providers can go on our Facebook page as of tomorrow. The registration form will be available, so you can go on there and register to participate in the forum.
Excellent.
And
the Facebook page is Consumer Protection Commission Bahamas. Consumer Protection Commission Bahamas on Facebook.
Thank you all very much. Colette Butterfield, Austina Smith Knowles, and Dana Farrington. Thank you so much, Consumer Protection Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To Dean, thank you for being here.
You.
I'll see you next
next week.
I'll be back tomorrow morning with more